Yo, yo, yo. How's everybody doing this beautiful Sunday afternoon? I changed the settings to the stream a little bit, so let me know if y'all can hear me, see me. It looks like it's a pretty big delay. Yeah, like about a 15-second delay. Or a little bit more than that. So, hopefully everybody's doing okay. Everybody's doing fabulous. Yeah, like 24 seconds. That's a long time. But, hey, right, whatever. So today what we're going to be talking about has actually been something very close to my heart. And I have been getting, like, the second I wanted to talk about it originally, I was hit with waves. Hit with waves of messages. Hit with waves of synchronicities leading up to this moment. And it was kind of interesting, actually, kind of going through. It's very similar to what I was experiencing when I got the messages for Venus, to explain what Venus was and how she actually factors in our relationships, how she factors in our lives, who is Venus in our life, right? And this situation kind of gave me very similar vibes. Like, I didn't do like physical hard research, right? I just observed. I just watched. I took a very Scorpio approach for the last 2 weeks. Even when I was doing the compatibilities the last 2 weeks, I was very aware of the judgment around me. Now, what does that freaking mean? Because y'all, let's be honest, everything ain't judgment. So what do I mean? Well, that's the thing. Judgment actually spans in a lot of different ways than we think. A lot of different ways than we honestly haven't thought about. And honestly, the people that we get judged by the most are everyone, including ourselves, especially ourselves. So it's about, I guess this episode will be about to define to recognize the ways in which we judge, if it's healthy, unhealthy. And then I'll pull some cards for every sign at the very end to just kind of see what the vibrations are. And I'll do that around 110 for me. Okay? So what is judgment, right? What have we been doing as a human race to represent our superiority, our smarts, our intelligence? Just to be straight up, I know a lot of you are going to be like, whoa, superiority. We're not superior. I mean, no. But to be honest with you, there's certain planets that can't survive without our help. And it doesn't make us superior, no. But it does make us very powerful. Superior in the human race. We are the superior of the human race. Right? There can be no less. There can be no more. Right? We are the absolute power. So there's things in our lives that we do that are judgmental, that I don't know if you, me, or anybody has even recognized. And it's not a bad thing, like, this is not to say, oh, you shouldn't be judging. This is about recognizing what judgment can do and leaving it up to you whether or not you want to continue down the road of judgment in either way that comes up. So the first one is by preconceived notions. Now, a lot of people, they think they know a situation just by guessing it. And a lot of times, it's not correct. The reason why it's not correct is because, at least to the point where it's kind of like questionable as to why that kind of judgment's coming up, is because it's not coming from a place of knowing. It's coming from a place of feeling. And feeling is not a bad thing, right? We get most of our instinct, or we trust our instincts, we trust our heart. Hey, Topher. We trust a lot of our basic needs stuff with our heart. So to sense that something is off with someone is not judgment, but to come up with reasons to justify the judgment, to justify the feeling that you're getting that's either opposing or even leaning towards the person. Because yes, judgment is about This isn't just about rejection. It's also about acceptance too. Sometimes we accept things for the wrong reasons. And one of the things I've noticed is that when we have that sort of pattern with our feelings and our minds working together to come up with a story, a narrative that is not aligned with the other person's, it can honestly divert from the path that we were heading on in the first place. How does that happen? Well, because we're making up a story that does not exist until we know it exists. And a lot of times, from what I've experienced, a lot of people, they don't go and investigate. They don't think they don't think they need to know any further. They think they know everything, and they never even asked a question. Let me go ahead and and everybody know that it's delayed 5 minutes, so it's not. I'm not trying to. My stream is delayed 25 minutes. 25 seconds. My bad. But yeah, so a lot of times, a lot of people will go with their preconceived notions of situations. This is why we have the dynamic between religions. This is why we have the dynamic between religion against the cults. This is why we have all these things. Because nobody does any research. Nobody actually goes in to look. And then for everybody that has gone into look, has gone into experiment to see, to understand the other side, and they still judge, they miss the point. Why do they miss the point? Simple. Because the whole point of going in to learn, to understand the other side, is not to make a determination of whether or not something is bad or good. It's about understanding the other side, compassion, showing, just truly understanding. Understanding is without judgment. Why do you think Sagittarius rules the 9th house? That's higher learning. That's religions too. It's philosophy. And in my opinion, it's a little bit of a cult as well. You can't just leave Scorpio thinking you gotta take some magic with you. It's all of those wonderful things conglomerated together. And does he judge any of the things that he learned? He figures out whether or not they apply to him and he moves forward. It's not about whether or not it's a good thing, people will accept it. I don't know if you met any Sagittarians that care a fuck about anybody's opinions. Aquarius is very similar, and so is Leo, right? Leo, Aquarius, Sagittarius. Those three don't, and even Aries. Those three do not give a fuck. Those four don't give a fuck. There's a reason for that. There is a reason. And the reason is because no one really honestly has the time or the energy to put all that shit in their forefront, to constantly continue to drain their energy, right? So when we have like shitty situations and we can't get out of them, where are you leaning some of your energy to? Where is your energy going? Like, you have to think, okay, have you been judging this person? Every time you see them, do you have a reaction to them? Why is this reaction that way? Right? Like, getting down to the bottom of it, it helps. But at the end of the day, why the fuck do you care? You know? It's not like a judgment again, right? It's not about that. It's just about what matters to you. The power of judgment is not necessarily to say that where your judgment is misplaced, but it's to help all of us, figure out where we may be judging things in our life that really shouldn't fucking matter. Like, the whole thing through Aquarius season, it's been really nice. It's been very sunny in my life, you know, kind of like this. But my whole life is falling apart right now. A lot of shit's falling apart right now. That doesn't mean that I go ahead and follow the path of the misery. I can see the situation, determine that it's shitty, and still walk outside with a smile. Because at the end of the day, those are physical. Those are apart from me. Those are things that are affecting me in my life, but they're not affecting my heart. So therefore, I should not let that energy deter me from feeling good. Not saying that anybody else is doing anything wrong, but it's hard to do that. It took me a long fucking time to figure this out. Like, this shit is not easy to figure out. Because, I mean, last year, if I, like, where I am right now, I would have lost my goddamn mind. I would have probably not shown up for the stream. I would have literally shat my pants. But I've been cool. I've been coasting. I've been so easy with everything. And it's because I let go of my expectations. That's another one. Number 2. What else is judgment? Expectation. And I talked about this in an IG post, an Instagram post I made like a couple days ago. And I was talking about, and it was really crazy because I was shuffling the cards, everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, right, I got the 10 of Cups come out. I'm like, okay, all right, 10 of Cups, fine. Pull out my romance, my Power of Surrender, shuffle that bitch up. Didn't even take me 2 seconds before the card flipped and landed right next to 10 of Cups. Not perfectly. You know how it's like a little design? It's got to have a little style to it, y'all. So when it falls on its face, it's got to be like, what's going on, boo? What's up? That's pretty much what it was like. And I was just like, hats off to you. I guess I'm going to take a picture. Click. But that message was very interesting because at the time I was totally thinking about what I should be talking about for this episode. That one thing stood out to me. Expectations, dreams. Now dreams are different, right? We could always want something as far as, it's like we want to have a feeling, right? We want to feel a feeling. But even when we put a picture to that, when we put an idea to it, it's no longer a dream. When we start envisioning for anybody that has that has gotten that manifestation tool down of visualizing what you want, kudos to you, because that shit is hard for me. I can't do that. For me, like every time I look at my favorite house, every time I look at the kind of houses I want, I feel like I'm a step farther away every time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I look at a tiny house, because that's the kind of house I want, I'm thinking, damn, broke as hell. That's pretty much what I do. And it's not like that's gonna be mine one day. That's gonna be mine one day. It's someone else's shit. I'm a Taurus rising. I don't give a fuck. It's like, that's not mine. That's not mine. I don't have mine yet. So, and then Gemini's like, yeah, but it could be. We're going to pretend for a second. Tell us, like, do you see me trying to fucking pretend right now? No. So it's like that. So when I see when I use trying visual manifestation, doesn't work for me. Because in my mind, I'm reaffirming judgment in myself that I have a long way to go. That I won't be able to get there in a feasible amount of time. That I have to work harder in order to have what I need. When I need not create rules or regulations or situations that keep me from actually having what I want. Because let's be honest with you. Let's be honest with each other. And Capricorn does this too. Right? Capricorn is known to do all this stuff. What does Capricorn do the most with their intentions and goals? Like, what do? They set fucking limits. And you're like, what are you talking about? How does Capricorn set limits? Very easily. But they determine what they can and cannot do before they do it. Is there any faith prior going in? Maybe. But the fact that they have already determined that it was going to be a difficult journey. And this is talking about low vibrational Capricorn. This is not high vibration. High vibration Capricorn, they have a strategy and plan based off of what they want to do and they execute. Low vibration, they focus on what is around them, what their circumstances are, and how does that apply to how they can get to point A to from point A to point B. That's it. And that expectation of themselves is then another judgment on them. It's like they created a wonderful little stick to whoop themselves with. If I don't get this done, I'm a failure. If I don't get this done, I'm not successful. If I don't do this, I'm not happy. And then what do you think happens to Capricorns? They're not happy. Not to lie, Capricorn energy is a hard energy, right? It's a very difficult energy. I think every sign after Libra, that is we thought that the other half was the babies, toddlers, and teenagers, right? Or like that was I can't remember his name, but he's a great astrologer. You should totally check him out. I'll put him in the description box later. But I used to see the sign as humans, demigods, humans, superhumans, demigods, peace dealers version of the signs, right? That dynamic, and they're not unpowerful. Human beings have some serious power. Like I'll give you a great example in a minute, and I know it's going to be something that's fiction, but this does talk about how powerful a human being can be when they are fixated on an idea, which I'll get to in a second because I had wrote it down and I made sure not to fucking forget it. Your girl's channeling that Virgo North Node of writing shit down, but anyway, so humans are very powerful. Let's not get that twisted. It gets complicated the higher you get on the scale, right? We go from 1 to 12, different. You get different shit, different vibration, different everything. It's not easy. So, of course, Aries through Pisces, that energy is like simple to not simple, because the other half of the zodiac tends to have more complicated issues. And like if you're on the other half of the zodiac, you good. Your situation isn't too complicated. Your energy isn't too hard to manage. The higher you go on the scale, the more it's harder to understand what the hell you're supposed to be doing with it. Or rather, like this sense of obligation to do shit about what you have in yourself is a lot higher. And it usually can steer a lot of people in the wrong direction. Why do you think Pisces can be so messed up? Like, have you ever met a Pisces that's in this high vibration? Not saying that they don't exist, but they are very hard to find because Pisces energy is so confusing. I mean, like, think about it. Being like having your daddy planet be Neptune, the god or the energy of disillusionment, like, you know, fantasy. You can't see me, maybe you can see me now. Magic, like everything is about missing the point on purpose. Like it's just like. And is it really missing the point though? See, that's why it's so confused. That's why Pisces energy is so powerful, but it's not as powerful. It's not like any more powerful than Aries energy, because Aries is like the focus, the drive, the energy. It's driven. But the energy for Pisces, it's almost like, think of it as simple math for Aries. Same powers. We're using 10 plus 10 equals 20. Excellent. But you move to Pisces and you have X plus 5 over Y plus 20 or divided by 24, and with the brackets being 8 minus 1 with the parentheses minus 3, and it's just like to get the same fucking number. That's Pisces, dude. That's Pisces. So this is like, we're all the same energy. I truly believe we are all the same fucking energy, but it's like we're different equations. The more we get higher in the scale, the harder that math gets. Think about it. 12th grade is when you're starting to learn trigonometry. It's like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that shit? That's what happened to me. I don't know if you guys had to study fucking trigonometry when you were younger, and you're like, when you were like 12, in 12th grade, and you're just like, but I'm going in for art. Like, what the fuck am I using this shit for? I'm not gonna be using this shit. Yeah, you are, but not like in the way you're thinking. And it's like the concept of expectation is very highly used with Scorpio, with highly used with Virgo, highly used even with Leo a little bit, Cancer, Taurus. Libra can be like that too. The only, like, the people that don't really and Pisces as well. The only people that don't really expect much are Aquarius, Sagittarius, and I have to add the people that also expect things too is Capricorn. They throw in the people that really don't really care about what their outcome looks like, or they don't necessarily have so much weight on it, in a vibration that's very similar. Because Aquarius can expect things, but it doesn't really, like, if they don't get it, they'll go somewhere else. That kind of deal. Right? Same with Sag. If they're not satisfied with where they at, they gonna move. They gonna be like, okay, that's okay, time for my train. Right? That's Sag. Straight Sag. I don't know anybody who hasn't dealt with a Sagittarius to know when they are born and they're done. Same with Aquarius, they're done. They leaving. They bye. They're like this. Bye. And I threw Libra in there halfway, mainly because they do have expectations. We do have expectations. We have expectations of people in relationships. And that's very specific, right? Because going to work, we don't give a fuck. You know? Hanging out with friends, we don't really care. But it's with relationships that we put the most weight on it. And it's just like, why is that? Why do we do that? Well, it's mainly because that's the part of us that we end up being most vulnerable with. We feel most comfortable with interpersonal relationships. So the person that we have in our life, when we have expectations of them, it's because we are making sure that our boundaries are straightened up and safe enough to be vulnerable. So Libra is halfway in that mark too. So when we get down to the lower parts of Scorpio, of the energies, not lower parts of the energies, but like when we descend on the zodiac scale, right? Leo, Cancer, Taurus, when they expect, right? And Leo's expectations different too, very different, like kind of different to like as like Libra, but except Leo, I feel like they expect more of themselves. They expect more of themselves, and therefore what they expect more of themselves, they usually apply to other people, because there is a sense of like, I should be doing that too, or I've been wanting to do that. You did it before I did, so kind of like that. But it's not all Leos do this, right? We're still talking about, you know, the type of expectations that a low to moderate level, you know, energy of either of the signs are when they represent expectation. Right? I'm not saying that Aquarius is not Aquarius, Sagittarius, half of Libra, half of Leo, Cancer, and Taurus, they all expect shit. It's not really about that. It's really about what did they do with their expectation, or what is the probable answer to solving it. All right? Or where is that linked to? Where is that coming from? So for Leo, it is always about themselves. It's always about what makes sense here. Because if it don't make sense here, or if there's something that's churning in them, but there's no movement outside in their world, everyone else is starting to look like they're, you know, doing what Leo thought of in the first place. Not saying that Leo, you know, is trying to take credit for coming up with an original idea, but the point is that Leo has expectations of themselves. So everyone has expectations. Aquarius has expectations of themselves too, but they have expectations of, well, if I can't get what I want out of this, that's fine. No one's at fault. I may not necessarily want to be around you anymore, but I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I need. Right? Very flippant, very similar to Sagittarius. That's okay. This situation isn't working out for me, but I'm going to go. And is that a judgment to do that? To me, when I think of judgment and ultimately making a decision for your well-being, it's two different things. Mainly because when we make a decision for our hearts, we don't dwell on the decision. Judgment is something that we dwell the decision on. There's a reason why the 20th card in the tarot is judgment. 2-0. Now, 2 is basic feminine energy, straight the fuck up, like all the way feminine, right? That's Venus in number form. So when we go back to the vibration of our feelings, and then we have the boundary that we have with the circle, it's like, what is the emotional matter that's pressing against a certain protected feeling that has not been breached? Because once that's been breached, it moves to 21, the world. I should have found these cards when I was talking about them. So, as a matter of fact, let your girl find them damn cards right quick. Okay? Because, I mean, here's the thing. It's weird. Like, when... I'm going to actually pull out this card, too. The Wheel of Fortune. That's one of those things, too. And it's the reason why that's coming up, I'll explain in a second. But everything that has a 0 before it is a lot more scary, because I feel like zeros talk about dimensions. They're portals, right? They look like fucking portals. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I had, like, there was one period where I was looking at my television, I saw that 0, and that 0 got huge, and I was thinking I was about to get abducted by aliens. That was my thought process. I knew that was not the case. I was possibly going through a psychosis at the time. But the whole point of that whole matter was that the zeros were openings, but they were also closes. They're very exclusive to one thing. There's a circle around something because there's some sort of point of focus. You looking deep enough, you could find it, but you have to kind of push past the barrier, the hymen. Like, think about it. It kind of looks like a hymen too. I know. Y'all are like, wow, we just talking about vaginas in here? Hell yeah. This is Cosmic Quest Tarot. We're going to talk about all this shit. So, if I can find Judgment, that would be, like, fabulous right now. I'm, like, having to go through the whole deck. Because... But expectations do limit our potential for manifesting happiness. Because whenever we put a picture on something, whenever we have unless the picture gives you the feeling that you need and you're not looking at the picture to manifest what you're looking at, that's different, right? I think that's the key to visual manifestation. But if there's any sort of lack, emptiness, or feeling of doubt in yourself that comes up with the picture, you probably should just remove it. Because it's not necessarily going to help you move forward if you believe that there's a certain way to get whatever you need to get. There we go. Judgment. And where's the world? I thought I saw it. And so leads the question. There we go. What kind of expectation would be plausible, feasible, fair to have? So that's for you to determine. The reason why I say that is because everyone's type of expectation is going to be different. Like I said, from Aquarius's version of expectation, it's limited. It's basically of themselves, but they do in a way to some degree, kind of they don't necessarily criticize the world, but they have, through their disappointment of themselves, kind of casted that light. That they can do that. Not saying that they all do it. They can do it. Leos, totally responsible. Expectations of themselves are high. Libras, expectations in their relationships. Virgo, expectations in carefulness, conscientiousness. Thorough, like being thorough. That's very important. They have expectations of things being thorough, but that expectation of being thorough means also to them perfection, right? You have to hit every detail. You have to hit every little fucking point on that thing. What's up, Bruce Lee? Okay, look, he coming from the grave. I love it. What's up? That's the thing, right? Like that's Virgo's expectations, right? So far, like that kind of expectation, things like that, of that nature, the expectations, they are pieces of judgment. They are fragments of judgment, especially if there's an energy behind it that wants something. Anything that has a want attachment to it probably should not be. It probably should be considered a judgment. Because if something is not at your expectation, what happens? You become disappointed. You get upset. You get irritated. You want to leave, right? There's a sense of retaliation, some sort of comebacks. So far, let's go down the list of what we just talked about. Judgment. So far, it's through expectation. Can't remember the last point, but that point was having a lot to do with preconceived notions and expectations. Now there's a third one, and I call this one the shift of responsibility. 20 is a very significant number here, and it was kind of transitioning to what I was talking about, because 2 is emotions strictly. Venus is all vibration. 2 is all vibration. 0 is a vibration as well. But when those vibrations do their little dance, right, there's a feeling of piercingness. It cuts. It's burrowed in. But when you try to get it out, it cuts, right? It hurts. At least in the beginning. But there's nothing that doesn't reward the pain. However, we delay the inevitable. At least I have delayed the inevitable in my past when I never took personal responsibility for the direction I was going into. And a lot of us was like, yeah, we take personal responsibility. I take personal responsibility all the time. A lot of times, let's be honest, we always initially think that something else is the problem before we think it's the stuff. I'm guilty of this still. I take personal responsibility usually after I have my reaction and blame the fucking world for it. Like, oh my god, the reason why my relationship isn't working is because my da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then after I sit for a second, I'm like, no, let's be honest with ourselves. It's our fault. But it's not a fault. It's more of like, I'm responsible. I'm taking personal responsibility. Now, where other people would see that as empowering, a lot of people don't. They see that as a reason to doubt yourself, another reason to shame yourself, another reason to operate in a way that is not really healthy for anybody, right? That is the most prime judgment to me. When we blame the world, when we blame everyone else, the reason why we do that is not that action of blaming the world there. That's not judgment. The action of why, like the fact that we're doing that, the reason why we're doing that is because of us. That's why it's doing it. That's why that's happening. That's the only reason. Think about it. If you're not taking a personal responsibility, you're blaming the outside world, you're giving yourself the worst amount of judgment you possibly could give by not taking power in the situation. You're saying you don't deserve to even have something like this, and everybody else should be blamed for it. Everybody else should be shown that I have no power in my life. That's what that means. And that right there is the most dangerous of judgments, in my opinion. Mainly because, like I just said, you are no longer taking the essence of your ability, of your power, and putting it back in yourself. When anything bad happens in your life, taking personal responsibility is not saying that you are the reason why something has happened and therefore you deserve the consequences. That is not what that means. Karma doesn't even work that fucking way. What it actually means is that I know what I did. I'm aware of my power. I need to redirect it and refocus it in the direction that I want it to go, instead of it letting it kind of spiral out and go crazy. It's not saying that you did anything bad. And that's another thing too, right? Like, the illusion of black and white. Like, we got so many other different colors out here. Like, are we going to acknowledge that there's purple? Are we going to acknowledge that there's pink? Are we going to acknowledge that there's green, yellow, orange? Are we going to acknowledge those? Because let's be honest, those colors don't exist in black and white. Black and white don't create color. It allows us to see it through dimness and lightness. Like, that's it. That's the fucking hues, man. I mean, think about it. Like, it don't tell us shit about a color. It just gives us the opportunity to see it better. You have a dark red, add a little more white, you got a really bright red. You get a neon color. But the red, the blue, the green, all these other colors, there are definitions of why good and bad, right and wrong, black and white don't fucking exist. If that was the case, we wouldn't have colors. If that was the case, we would just be fucking the same. Think about, I don't know if y'all seen the was it the Fairly Odd Parents story, where he was like, I wish everybody was the same, and I wish da-da-da-da-da, and then he actually had that wish had come true, and he was put in a world, he looked like a blob with everybody else, black and white. That was a very, very particular episode, peculiar episode, and it stuck with me, even when I was a kid, dude. And it was like, wow, if everybody was the same, if everybody didn't have anything different, if everybody didn't really have a personality, if everybody didn't have what makes them special, if all the signs were meant to be like an Aquarius or like an Aries, we would not have the beautiful facets that are in between that we need to be individual. Aquarius is not Aquarius because it's Aquarius. Aquarius is Aquarius because of the rest of the fucking zodiac. Aquarius would not exist without the rest of us. And I'm sorry, but Ophiuchus or the other fucking thing, okay, probably boycotting Planet Watcher, because that nigga doesn't. I no. Like, what? But that's a whole different topic. Not that nigga, though. Fuck that. No. 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 Just because you find some... Like, it could be an asteroid. Like, we have so many fucking asteroids. We have Lilith. Okay, she's not really an asteroid. She's a, like, couple points. Or she's a point between some moons and some rocks and shit. Cool. Fine. Whatever. Nessus. Degeneres. Ceres. Pallas. Vesta. Chiron is a goddamn asteroid. We could just throw him in as an asteroid. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to stop. But the point is, without Aquarius, we wouldn't have the understanding of the beautiful colors of the rainbow. Because we are the colors of the fucking rainbow. Think about it. The rainbow can't see itself without a mirror. And that's what Aquarius is. That's what 11 is. It's just a fucking mirror. 1 next to 1 is what? The mirror. There's nothing in between it. Because it's a blur of dimensions. It's like, have you guys seen the Star Wars movie, the one before this last one? Because if y'all haven't, I'ma spoil it, and I'm sorry. So you might want to mute this, turn this off for a second, come back in like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna wait. If you guys want to sit here and listen to it, perfect. But I'm going to go there. So pause right now or skip right now. Okay, so the delay also kind of shrunk up a little bit too. Okay. There was a scene in that movie. And you know what? I don't know why I have a hard time remembering the name of the movie. But I do. I think it was like Force Awakens. And that wasn't fault. Whatever. I can't remember. What was like? I know. Like, hopefully they'll give me the like this. No, Empire Strikes Back. No. Okay. Well, there's more than that. Rise of the Jedi. That Rise of the Skywalker. Solo story. The Last Jedi. It was the Last Jedi. And I think it was the Last Jedi. Yeah, because it was the Force Awakens. Yeah, it was the Last Jedi. There was a scene where Rey was walking into I said 2 minutes and here I go. She was walking into a cave, I believe, and it had like a bunch of mirrors in it, and all she could see was herself. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the new Star Wars movies are whack, but the thing that I'm trying to get out of this message here is that we are literally looking at the world and not recognizing that is us too. Because we are all the colors of the rainbow, right? If we're all the colors of the rainbow, so is everybody else. And so when we don't take personal responsibility, we're not taking our beautiful colors into consideration. We're not allowing our beautiful colors to shine, to be, to love, to grow, to expand, to be happy. We have all of them already there. And I'm not going to lie, any of the houses that you have empty can make it harder for you to notice those, but they are there. Like if you look at your birth chart and you see a shit ton of empty stuff, it's because there is a part of you that has to stand in to represent those colors, because those planets are not going to do it for you. The planets already did it in the placements in the parts of your chart that they are sitting in at this time. Think about it. I'm a Gemini moon. You could tell I'm a Gemini moon, right? Because look at me. I'm crazy. I'm goofy. I'm like, look at me. Gemini moon, everything. I talk to myself. I have versions of myself. I have a twin. I'm just going to be straight up. I have a twin. You can call me crazy all you want to, but that's not what it is about, right? It's about recognizing and noticing that, hey, like one of the things that's stereotypical Gemini moon, I can't lie. And what does that mean? I mean, I try. I'm going to straight up be honest with everybody. I do try. But the second I do, someone always calls me out and be like, you're not being honest. And it's like, well, how did you know? It's like, well, you can see it in your face. It's so obvious. You know how many times we got that as a kid? Imagine being told when you were like a little kid that Santa wasn't real, and you had to go around everybody else's kids and not say a goddamn thing. But then, right, it's totally fine. Just like, okay, you hear everybody talk about Santa and all this stuff. It's like, oh, wow, okay. But it's hard to fucking fake the disinterest because you know it's not real. So then, of course, that question comes up. Why are you acting like that? Do you believe in Santa? I'll tell you what, as a kid, it was hard because I got in trouble for saying I didn't believe in Santa Claus. And why I didn't believe in Santa Claus, because they would always go into why, because kids are quite curious to ask questions. Pages are the ones that seek more information. And so I was the one that got in trouble because I never could help myself from, whatever. But that's where, but the moon in my first is showing and prominently displaying my first house. The other parts of my houses, they don't represent, right? Like Sagittarius, Virgo to Sagittarius are the only planets that truly stand out because they have planets in them. The ones that don't, think about it. Like the 4th house is Leo. Do I look like I'm proud in my house right now? What am I showing as what is the representation of Leo in the 4th house for me? Right? That's really hard to see. I have Saturn in my 12th house. That's practically not having a planet there at all. But there is, but in the background. You don't fucking know what's happening, but you just know something's fucked up or something's going on and you can't figure it out. We are all the colors of the rainbow, even when planets are not in there to represent it. And I feel like the more planets you have in different houses, the harder the energy is to wield, because there's all those beautiful facets that are coming out and expressing themselves all at the same fucking time. You gotta figure out what to do with those. When you have a stellium, it's more of like a focused energy. It's like, this is it. But that does not mean it's it. That's where we get it confused. And it doesn't mean that you're the most powerful when you have stellium in there. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you are stuck, whatever. Like, I know someone that has 90% of their planets in Taurus. And they're super stubborn and they're very Taurus. They embody Taurus so much. But that means that the rest of their chart that doesn't have planets, they have to represent. They have to represent for themselves. That's a hard thing to do. Especially if you keep them hidden and you keep them to yourself and you keep them away because you don't want people to do what? To do what you're doing. And try and take your power away. By projecting their own insecurity. And make you responsible for their downfall. When your power does not exceed past your own. Like, think about everybody that's tried to do something that would overpower somebody. Every time they would get smacked down. Like, everybody's day of reckoning is coming. But not in the way that we think. And it's not like karma, okay? Like, I'm sorry, it's not like how other people think it's karma. Karma's not revenge, y'all. Karma is not revenge. Karma is number 6. Karma is 42. Anybody that watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it is 42. And I know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? 4 is about foundation. It is stability. It is the thing that it is the box that we have to support what we're going to be creating next. And 2 is the emotion. Think about literally the 4 being the stage and our heart being the music. 2 is music. 2 is vibration, the basic energy, like I said with Venus. Where we stand and how we project our love will emanate back to us through Aquarius, through 11, how we receive that music back. What music have you been sending out? Have you been judging yourself too harshly? What in that vibration of judgment from yourself, that is exactly the kind of music you're going to hear back. But it's not because other people truly believe that judgment is for you, because everybody is coming from their own places. Remember, when somebody is taking and blaming you for something, it's because they're trying to relinquish responsibility to take away ownership of their power, which ultimately makes them even more upset and makes them feel even more empty because they feel like they can't control anything now because they blamed everyone else. That isn't fact, though. That isn't truth for them, but they don't realize that just because they say something isn't the truth. Saying stuff does not mean it's the truth. That's why this is important. Being in alignment. When anybody is upset with anybody, about doing something. They're letting go of their power, and they're not mad at the other person because they actually did it, because the other person can't actually do anything. It's actually, they're mad at the fact that their power has just been relinquished. They just relinquished their power to someone else. And then the feeling of betrayal comes in, and then we project that onto the person that we gave our power away to. But we know that that's actually not what we're feeling. That's actually not what we are actually, that's not the direction in which that betrayal is coming from. The betrayal is the betrayal that everyone feels within themselves. That is it. Because there is nothing anybody can do to us. Nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. Think about Rosa Parks. I had talked about her in the post this week. Think about Rosa Parks. Nothing. And here's the story that I wanted to talk about earlier to show you guys, or give another representation as to how not taking personal responsibility is the worst type of judgment anyone should do to themselves, not to anybody else. Alright, let me make that clear. When we don't take personal responsibility, we're not taking our power, and we are judging ourselves. We're saying that we are not worthy of our power. That's what judging other people do. That's what not taking personal responsibility is. If you're a weak person, and you take like I say weak with quotations, and you take personal responsibility, you have to redefine what weak is. If you're a strong person but blames the outside world, you need to figure out why you feel the strength. Where is the strength coming from? How is pushing the abilities that you have onto other people strength? And don't act like this is me preaching, because this is not the case. I've been through this, and I have already dealt with this shit. Last year was a great representation of me not taking personal responsibility, where I thought I was, but I wasn't. That's a lie. Taking personal responsibility means that you take all the brunt, you take all of it, and you recognize all your ability, you recognize all that power. You recognize your color of the rainbow, where the colors may have intertwined in the ways that you didn't want them to, and then you just fix your fucking rainbow. It's not to say that I'm perfect, because I'm still dealing with it too. I still judge myself. But I gotta remember, I gotta take a step back. I gotta look at the situation. I gotta remind myself that nothing is outside of me. Nothing, no power that I have exists outside of me. It's all in here. It's always been. So I am not giving anybody my power by letting them think that they took my life and whipped it around in a way that they wanted it to. Because honestly, that's not really what happened. So the story I want to talk about, and I was going to pull cards for everybody, but look at that. We're only 7 minutes away before we have to literally go. It is what it is. But the story I want to talk about, and this is kind of like the closing one here. And I'll just kind of nip it off at the closing. I don't know if y'all played the game, and I'm a gamer, alright? Don't be out. Gemini Moon, damn it! Gemini motherfucking Moon. I'm all about them video games. Okay, not as much as I say I am. Like, I only stick to one game. I only play Overwatch, play a little bit of Don't Starve. I kind of dabble in some other games, but I'm not super crazy about them. I don't really do the research. Like, trust me, if a Sagittarius and a Capricorn get together and they're all infatuated with video games, they will talk about video games for the rest of the day. I promise you. I know a Capricorn and an Aquarius, a Capricorn and a Sagittarius, and they're all together. Like, Capricorn, placements with Sag placements that are pretty prominent, and they talk about video games to the ends of the earth. Like, they don't stop. And it's like, it's fascinating, it's endearing to see someone have so much passion for that stuff. That's just not me. I don't give a fuck, honestly. I'll follow one of them, and I'll watch all the tournaments. Like, I love watching fucking tournaments, y'all. But that's as far as it goes. I don't go into the depths, the behind the scenes, who made it. Like, I have not a goddamn clue who made Overwatch. I mean, I do, it's Blizzard, but then at the same time, like, that's not the whole crew. Jeff Kaplan, I know he's involved in there somewhere, but I don't, you get me. So, if you guys don't play video games, you guys might want to play some video games. But anyway, but don't get crazy, right? Don't let it take over your life. But anyway, God of War is a great representation of not taking personal responsibility and how that power of not taking personal responsibility grew. Like, think about it. It grew. I mean, that power was so immense. He even killed a god, dude. Like, he was like, you took my family away from me. I'm gonna kill you. And he killed everybody in his fucking path. He rampaged and fucking murdered so many people, murdered so many gods, murdered so many doggone people just to get to one nigga. And then he did it again in the second movie. And then he did it again in the third. I say movie because I watch them like movies. I don't actually play the game. I actually watch it. So if you don't play video games either, that's fine too. Just watch some games. That's fine. But anyway, he did it in the second one. He killed Zeus, right? I think that was, can't remember if that was the second or the third, but I believe it was the second one. And I can't really remember the third, but I know that the last one was him after all that shit. Man, I really, like, those of you that have not played God of War 4, or the fourth one, the one that's really fucking just gorgeous, y'all might need to switch this off right now. Thank you so much for joining and have a good night, because I'm gonna go into this story too. And you can pause, you can skip, you can do whatever. You can mute it, but this is the story. Spoiler alert. Kratos has a child. And he has to show him the power that he has in himself without the important detail, such as he is half giant, half god. Now, let's back the fuck up for a second. Kratos in the very beginning of the story was not a god. He was not a god at all. As a matter of fact, he was merely human. And he was actually a war general, I believe. Or a soldier, a warrior of some sort, who ended up asking Ares, and I don't know if you guys have followed Greek mythology, but he was honestly, Ares was one of the disliked gods out of all of them, because all he was bloodbath, bloodshed, rampage. He was psychotic. He was just like, death, all the time. Mars was not like that. Athena was not like that. This nigga was just, everything died. It was just like super mad, crazy man energy. No direction, no focus, but just pure, hunter vibe. He asked that nigga if he could get some help. He got some help, but through his burning fire of rage that Ares loaned to him, which really all that meant was, when you call, especially back in the day, they used to blame gods all the time, right? Rome was known for like, or not Rome, Greeks was known for, or like the stories have told, blaming the gods for every goddamn thing. They took no personal responsibility, but they were just representations. Those gods were representations of aspects of people, which they didn't really, that we notice now as astrologers. So, Ares called upon his pure masculine energy, started slicing and dicing people. And then through that mist, through that fire, through that clouded judgment of pure rage and anger that's not controlled, instead of learning from instead of recognizing it from the moment, he ended up, through that rampage. Let me just back up a little bit. He killed his family, okay? Killed his family. He had, I think, 2 little girls and a wife. Ended up killing them. And he was raiding a village. He asked Ares to guide him through that battle. He didn't really need that, but he did it anyway. And he ended up killing his own family. That sucks, right? He killed his family. I want to say he killed his family, yeah. But what did he do instead? His expectations of the god that was known to be a rampaging god who doesn't really consider things as an obstacle. Everything is fair game. Pieces of steak. Like, everything was like level. Like, you don't give, like, when you're angry, think about it. Taurus knows this very well. Hi, Nikki. Taurus knows this anger and rage very well, because when they fucking get mad, it's usually because they let the energy bottle themselves up to the point of blackout rage. Aries can do that too. Scorpio, they can control that a little bit better, thank God. But they're a little scary with it because they have that fucking rage, but they can just like create beautiful, psychotic crazy with that shit. Okay, that's why you don't fuck around with Scorpios. But anyway, not in the sense of like, you know, oh, don't mess with them, run away. More like, what if you're trying to intentionally piss them off, you get what you get from that. That's pretty much what I'm saying. But anyway, he didn't understand that when you call upon an energy that is all about blind, rampaging force, you're going to do something dangerous. You're going to do something that ends up hurting you more than you realize. But he didn't embody that power necessarily. Or he did embody that power, but he embodied that power to punish the person that invented that sort of power in the fucking first place. Ares. So what did he do? He went to hell, or he went to the underworld. He killed Hades. He did all this shit, right? And then he turns around and becomes a god himself because he killed Ares. He did everything in his fucking power. Not to mention, he's I think the ghost of Sparta, because the ashes of the family of his family and the people that he's killed were rested on his skin for the rest of his life. Oh Lord, can you say karmic debt? Not to mention horrible person. Like Kratos was crazy, man. Kratos was crazy, Nikki. You know what I mean? He was losing his goddamn mind. He's like, you know, you killed my family. It's like, you killed your family. You asked Ares to help you with that shit. That's not his fault. But you killed his ass anyway. Because you wanted to destroy the very energy that caused you. Destroy the very energy that you chose to embody to take on a certain task that probably was not needed. If he saw things clearly. If he had more compassion. Because think about it, Ares is not compassionate. Not the zodiac sign, the god, the Greek god. He was not compassionate. He has no compassion. And it's not because he doesn't want to. Like if you read the story, Ares is just like that. You know? I mean, I think there may be a little bit more, which I'll dig into later. But Ares kind of gives the impression that he just is what he is. He's just the blinding, raging force or the baby that never really learned how to control his power. So he is the representation of uncontrollable energy, uncontrollable rage, uncontrollable fucking force. And he didn't know how to control it. He doesn't know how to control. Think about it. If it's all fire, you can't communicate, right? Where's the air at? That's why Athena is she was the most favored warrior, or the one that people liked the more than Ares, because she would think before she would fight. She would still fight, but she would think. She had an open mind when she was fighting. There was compassion where there wasn't with Ares, because there was an understanding that energy could be controlled. He did not know how to control it. So therefore Ares killed something that represented uncontrollable energy. So he became a god. And through that path, he killed Zeus. Because if Zeus is the ultimate god, Sagittarius, higher learning, higher knowledge, if he killed Zeus, then maybe the blinding rage that he had in himself would go away. He put blame on gods and ended up realizing that that anger wasn't going to go anywhere. And that's when having that child of his own became very aware. He became even more aware of what his power really was. And his power actually had to do with himself. And that's why he never talked about with his kid about him being a giant and a god. Like throughout the whole game, he's like, what do you think about this? You know, or like, boy, do this. You know, he's being a father, being very disciplinary and being very detached. But the focus of Kratos raising I think it's Atreus, but his mother wanted to give him the name Loki. Whoa! I'm not gonna lie, my Marvel self had to contain itself. It was like, oh my god, that's not the direction that it's going is not going into Marvel Comics. This is Greek mythology, but still, if we're dipping into Norse, and they're trying to say that there's connection with Norse mythology and Greek mythology, you bet your ass your girl's gonna find out what's up. But apparently, the rage that Loki had, or Atreus had, was ones that it was the feeling, is the emptiness that the father had never really felt full. But through that process of him being, of Atreus and Kratos taking his mother's ashes to the top of a mountain, of a very particular mountain, on based off of her wishes, they discovered together the power of understanding, the power of compassion. And the power of compassion is not to subject oneself to blame, to subject oneself to just a rampaging anger, because that's what judgment will lead. This is why this is such a fucking huge card, man. There's a reason for that. And it's because when you get to this point, you have gotten to a serious peak in your life. This is a prominent choice to do what you have been or change, to transform, to learn, or to become. It's a hard ass energy. And it took me forever to learn to understand this card. And I don't fully believe I understand this card completely, because there's facets of judgment that's feminine that I don't quite understand with my masculine ruled self right now. But what I do know is that this takes up a lot of time, takes up a lot of energy. And it's not real time that this takes, believe it or not. It's like the amount of anger that can be accrued from last year to now, if it's been maintained and sustained, this is what it looks like. But imagine that, that time frame is actually equal to you having that sort of resentment immediately after somebody's betrayed you. That sort of feeling, especially if it's been poked at and prodded at since you become aware of something coming up with a boundary, and then it finally hitting it twice. That's hitting it good, right? Hitting it good. Making that boundary sweat. That's when you're and that can happen in a matter of weeks, can happen in a matter of hours. That sort of anger can be manifested in hours. And how we measure that is 2 to 3 years that can be manifest. No. That time frame is literally to express to you guys how quickly it is for judgment to become anger, to become unruly, and to become a destructive energy that goes completely out of the way of your own direction. So is the power of judgment worth directing it at someone else, or taking it back and using it for your own will? Being like Kratos, but instead of killing Ares, being a god to represent the reason as to why control is important. Not necessarily to say that you need to be controlling every aspect of your life, but mainly for controlling, to protect and to love and to show yourself compassion. That's the beauty of control. That's what control actually does. It says, I have my back. That's what it says. So, that being said, that is the message I was meant to channel for you guys today, and I was pretty impressed with it. I'm gonna pull a card. I'm gonna pull some cards anyway. Power of Surrender. That's the card that wanted to come out. Okay, that's the type of cards we're gonna come out with. Okay, everybody's gonna get a Power of Surrender card, and the reason why I'm pulling Power of Surrender, and I probably should pull a Sacred Destinies card as well. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see what kind of love energy we're going to be getting. So we're going to be pulling Romance Angels too. I don't know. How are we going to talk about judgment but then get all romantic? I don't know, but you're going to see what's up. So we're going to see through the Power of Surrender what kind of love comes in for us. And I think that's going to be a really fun pull, okay? So we're going to start with the birthday family over here, Aquarius. Yes, Aquarius. I mean, look at y'all. Like, we're about to get closer to, we're getting closer and closer to Valentine's Day. We all forgetting sometimes that Aquarius season has Valentine's Day in that. So, even though Aquarius is all about that unconditional love, that encasing love, we still gonna be romantic over here, okay? Because let's be honest, Aquarius can be very romantic too. Their romance is not, it's like people don't recognize it half the time. Okay, so that doesn't mean anything. So what we're gonna pull first for each is we're gonna pull first a power surrender card and then a romance angel. Aquarius, what does Aquarius need to know for this week? What does Aquarius need to know for this week? What does Aquarius need to know for this week? What do they need to release for this week? And I do apologize if I'm blowing people's ears out. Whoa. Oh. Okay. Sorry, Malcolm. My little bunny. I'm sorry. Still making noise. I'm sorry, but I still make noise. Alright. So this card fell face up on the floor. And typically I would just put it back. But the fact that it came up on the floor like this, it's very significant. I try not to harbor anger. It always comes back to me. It always does, man. And you know what? I have anger issues, or that I'm dealing with myself. And I notice when every time I lash out and I get crazy, I always feel that pain all over again. And it don't feel right. It don't feel good. And I don't want to feel that way. I just choose not to feel that way. Not necessarily ignore my anger, because that's not the solution either. I tried that shit. That shit gets worse. It gets worse. It's about acknowledging my anger, figuring out what I'm angry at, why I'm angry at it. Not necessarily not why, but just ultimately you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Because that's true forgiveness. You don't have to have a reason to forgive. You just do it. You just say, it's not worth my time and energy to dwell on this. Let's move on. Let's move forward. That's resilience. To not need to know a reason to move on. That doesn't mean that things will be the same. That doesn't mean that things are just shrugged off and things are cool. You took acknowledgement of what happened. The understanding of it may not be important right now, but you know that you will try your best to be proactive and make sure that it's not happening again. For you, not for anybody else. For you. Because you're the one that feels the pain the most, right? But Aquarius has surrender obsessive thinking. Okay. If you're obsessing about a person or a situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. Okay, Aquarius. Okay, in doing that, right, in releasing this energy, and I don't think this is at all coincidental, because we just had the Leo in full moon in Leo. We still rocking those energies. Of course, the card of surrenders would come out. The cards of surrender, the power of surrender would come out. Or the card would be like, the deck would be like, hey, please use me. It makes more sense. So, okay, I just trust my judgment. Aquarius, what love would be coming in for you once you release obsessive thinking? Calling in your motherfucking soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So when you release obsessive thinking, what that does actually allows space for that person to come in. So thinking is causing some sort of emotional vibration to hold the space. And I don't know if that's exactly you obsessing over a person, obsessing over a situation, or you purposely using your mind to create a certain emotional signature that creates a barrier, right? That sometimes we can do that too, right? That's you're trying on purpose to make something happen or create some sort of boundary to keep something from happening. At the same time, this may not be the case, I don't think it's I say on purpose, but when I mean on purpose, I mean consciously, subconsciously, but with awareness. You subconsciously know that you're doing it, but ultimately you're not intentionally trying to do that. I have a feeling that with a lot of these messages with power of surrender, we're not intentionally doing anything. We're not intentionally putting up that barrier. It's just, it's there. And we are doing it. But we are like, I'm doing that. I don't think I want to do that. That's the whole energy. So Aquarius, just your situation is like, I'm thinking about stuff, I'm overthinking stuff, I'm obsessing over stuff, not because I necessarily want to, but the circumstances make it easy for me to do that because it's harder to think of something else. Or it's harder for me to allow this call of soulmate to actually come in. It's a lot easier because that's something I can control. So again, that's a pretty bit of protection, but is that protection truly needed, or are we prejudging a situation before it happens? And it's not truly prejudging because we're like, oh, I don't sit there and obsess about that. I don't sit there and think about that. I'm not really consciously thinking about that. It's not about that. It's about whether or not you thought about it or not. But to have a boundary like that, to protect yourself like that, it is prejudgment of what's to come. You don't know. And Aquarius, you know everything, and you know what you don't know, and that's fine. But in this situation, I kind of get the idea that you want to have the new, the exciting, the things that come into your life, the new vibrations, the new experiences. But there's always the feeling in the back of your mind that I have to kind of keep myself safe. Look at that. The person's hiding behind the apple. There's a reason why she's hiding behind the apple, the focus behind the apple. Because what she's truly looking at isn't really the apple. Look at the red direction. She's looking at you. She's looking at me. She's looking at us. She's looking at herself. And she's obsessively thinking about one thing because the direction of what she's really looking at is surpassed that. And I typically don't even look at the pictures with this, but I mean, at least not with the power of surrender. But today. All right, Aquarius, love. Love is on your doorstep, but it's after you open the door. Because so far you're like bolting the door closed, putting a chair underneath it, and you don't know you're doing it. But you do know you're doing it. It's weird. It's like you do know you're doing it, but you're not doing it. It's almost like you're proactively fighting that part of yourself that's trying to keep that wall up. Like that's the obsessive thinking. You're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Why am I doing it? But the focus is just to let yourself just be. I think, because calling in your soulmate is like giving that sort of like calling. Either that barrier is going to break or you're going to bring it down yourself. That's a really challenging energy. Pisces. What do y'all have to release? You got any Pisces in the house? Any people that have prominent Pisces placements? Because I know I got Pisces South Node, and it is killer. Pisces, I don't know how you deal with it. But anyway. I mean, I kind of do because I'm the South. Man, my South Node is like that, but you know what I'm trying to say. Jeez. My hat's coming off because I have a ponytail underneath this, and I did not do this right. And I don't really want to show off my ponytail. Pisces, what's up? Why are you trying to release stuff? Why are you trying to distract me right now? I'm just playing. That's Gemini trying to distract me, I think. But anyway, I'm picking up some energy, though. Okay. Surrender to spirit. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. Look at how gorgeous this is. It's like nature. The sun's popping out. It's like, hey, beautiful. I see all that beautiful stuff. Is that the dew? Are you watering the grass right there? Oh my goodness! I see that there's some food for the squirrels. You got some acorns for them. That's so nice. Let me go ahead and bless your world with that sun, right? But to me, it's like surrender to spirit. It's more like talking about having faith. When you surrender to spirit, you're giving everything. My mom used to use this phrase all the time. She said, "Give it to God." Just do the best you can and then give it to God. That's what she used to say to me. And she said I needed to do that, and I'm like, fuck that. I don't know. Like I'm not an atheist, but I'm like, at one period in my life I was really angry with everything, especially with the way I believed. And so I was like, fuck that, fuck God, fuck that. I don't have any idea what the fuck you're talking about. And so, but she was saying, in a way that I didn't quite understand then, and what I do understand now, for me anyway, what I took out of it that I can totally use and understand from my perspective is allow yourself the ability to give yourself a break, Pisces. Like, not necessarily in the sense of like, go down the deep end, right? Goes completely limp and just let it go. No, continue to swim through your path, but don't let don't dwell so much, or don't let the circumstances of what you're trying to bring into your life be that daunting. You're doing what you're doing what you can do, and that should be good enough. Trying to think of other ways to do something more is not honoring yourself. It's not honoring the manifestation. It's hard, yo. Okay, so what will Pisces receive in love through their release? Got a lot of energy for y'all. Okay, you got 2 cards. Pay attention to the red flags. Signs are warning you or cautioning you. And then free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. See, that's why, okay, so straight up, this message is super clear. Surrender to spirit, right? You're doing the best you can. You're doing the work that you can do. When we start working towards allowing ourselves to judge ourselves for not achieving more, we miss the point. We miss red flags. Or things, like let's be straight up. Red flags don't have to be bad things, okay? When they say red flags, I'm not thinking of a stop, it's caution. But it's to acknowledge. Because think about it, stopping is not bad. Think about it, when we drive, when we stop at a stoplight, it's to allow the other person to go in the direction that they're trying to go. There's some time for patience. It's not a bad thing. Red is not bad. It just means to halt, to pause, to look, to acknowledge. Yield is the same way. So there is a secret passion in which the red kind of imitates to me. But when I see this card, I'm thinking, notice there's something. Notice there's something. Acknowledge. Because right now, if you don't surrender, like, not surrendering to spirit distracts you from acknowledging. You're not able to really focus on what you're doing. If you're driving your car, you should be driving your car, not thinking about how you should be driving it. Because when you think about how you should be driving it, what happens? You're not driving the car anymore. You're trying to make sure you're doing everything that would be right, if that it doesn't exist, by the way. Like, other than following the traffic signs, doing X, Y, and Z. You're focusing on trying to do the best that you can at driving instead of just driving. Just being at ease, trusting yourself to do this. Because you're going to do this naturally anyway. But you miss this when your focus is on so fixated on the course of action. When it's not giving trust and leaving something to be in the process and work in the back. It's almost like monitoring and watching an update on your computer that does it on the background. Are you getting anything done by watching that update? Think about it. Like, Windows updates does this all the time. They'll have the Windows update downloaded in the back. You can play like with your video games, watch some YouTube videos, do your work. But it's imagine like, oh my God, this is I have to make sure that this, like, I gotta download this update. I have to download this program. You do that, right? You focus on that fucking program. You focus on the fucking program, and you get nothing done. And it's like, you just wasted the whole day watching this install, and now it's ready to reboot, and you gotta sit there and wait for that thing to reboot, and you did nothing in between there. This is exactly why Surrender to Spirit is coming up. And I feel like that's kind of very similar focus as to what Aquarius' reading was about, because this is like, just let yourself, just trust that you know what you're doing. Trust that you're doing the right thing. You are doing the right thing for yourself. Because if it feels good, you're on the right path, right? If you don't feel that great, you may need to divert. But otherwise, if you have any doubts, then you change course. If you don't have no doubts, everything feels good, you just stay on course. And staying on course, allow yourself to be put on autopilot so you can watch for red flags, watch for signs, symbols, synchronicities that things are either coming in your way, or if things are feeling off or out of place, there's something here to look at. And then you have free yourself, man. What a card. It's time to take back control of your life. And that's what giving trust and surrendering the need to have every bit of yourself controlling or in a certain focus. We don't need to think that we need to do something. We just need to be doing something. Does that make sense? We need to do it, not think to do it. We need not think our doing. We need to just be. We need to just feel our doing. Because feeling our doing is actually doing it. And then our mind is clear and free enough to actually consider our needs and understand what's coming up. To understand and analyze what we're feeling constantly. And true freedom isn't financial, isn't strictly situational. It is purely available to us at all times. But it's when we release and relinquish the things that hold us down, or hold us away from what we are actually trying to do. If we want freedom, we need to be free by relinquishing the need to try to find freedom. Break away the thoughts that keep the idea of free. Like, remember I told you limitations earlier is judgment? That's a judgment. That's what Capricorn does. That's why Capricorn is your 11th house. Don't think so much about what it should look like. Don't think so much about expectations, because the expectations don't mean shit. It's all about feeling, y'all. Let's go ahead and get it on to Aries. What's happening with y'all this week? What do y'all need to release for this week? What do y'all need to release for this week? Okay. Fine. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Oh, pretty much what I just said about Pisces, man. I mean, pretty freaking similar to what I said about Pisces. Listen to your body. Now, when they say listen to your body, what does that mean? Like, that doesn't mean just the heart, though. Like, if you starting to, like, get stomach aches, cramp up, because I mean, like, when I used to do stuff, like, when I used to, when I was a kid, when I used to know something was off, my stomach would cramp up so bad. And it's back to doing that. I hadn't done it for a while, but now it's back to, like, kind of feeling, ooh, this is a little off. This is a little, Or, rather, like, and sometimes, depending on the cramps, it would be like a good cramp where I could feel my body working. It's weird. When I'm in the right path and I feel good, my stomach will cramp because I need to poop. It's weird. I know it's gross, but that's a good thing to me. Because I'm like, oh, shoot, that's great. But when I have the cramps that don't seem to create anything or don't really expel anything, then I'm like, okay, something's wrong. Because I don't have the urge to expel. Does that make sense? It's just like a feeling that's saying, hey, this is something urgent to look at. Look at this. And this is like, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. God damn it. Ow. Kind of like that. So when it says surrender to the wisdom of your body, you gain cramps, if you gain some things going on with your eye, when you start twitching it or something, and you're like, why is my eye spazzing or something? There's something that your body is letting you know of because you're not listening to your heart. So it's going to be kind of like flecking around, right? It's not because you're conscientiously or trying to ignore it. Sometimes your body is like, let's try a different way of communicating. And it's not because the body is like, you're not listening to me, so I'm gonna try a different way. They just want to fuck around. Like, I mean, that's what my body does. Sometimes it'll fuck around. Sometimes it'll hurt my stomach. Sometimes I'll get like heartburn or feel like pain here. Not necessarily like real pain though. And sometimes I'll start having eye twitches. Same. Or I'll cough. Or or sneeze. And I don't have anything around me that would make me sneeze. So, like, be open to what your body's trying to lead you towards, right? So, what are you going to get? What is to come through romance? Getting to know each other as you reveal your innermost selves to each other. Your bond deepens. Ooh, so who's your boo? Y'all didn't tell me you had a boo. What am I, chopped liver? Y'all need to tell me stuff, okay? I don't need to be finding out like this. Okay, it's fine if I do. But still, so who's your boo? Who are you getting feelings about? And if you follow the rhythm of your body, it could be that y'all, okay, I want to pull, look, I'm going to pull more card, I don't give a fuck. If other signs don't get it, it's not because I don't love you. I just want to know. I'm a nosy ass bitch. That's it. But anyway. Okay, well, straight out. The Page of Pentacles. That's all I need to know. Ooh. So if you're feeling aroused, Aries, if you're feeling all kinds of good feelings, perhaps this is somebody that you like. Now, I guess it's saying to watch other responses too, because lust is, it could be the ego. It could easily be confused with the ego. But, you know, keep conscientious awareness to the other parts of your body that will send warnings. Not necessarily saying that, hey, this is bad, but, oh, this is a person that we're exactly looking for, kind of deal. Because warnings could be good things, and they could be bad. Or they could be great. Or they could be not so great. They could be exactly what we looked for, or maybe something we didn't consider. And it kind of puts our state of mind in a series of thinking of, how would we be in a situation like that? There's the limited possibilities of what a warning can do. So just be aware of what your body is trying to communicate. But somebody thinks someone's cute. Somebody thinks somebody is cute. Some of y'all could be doing it to yourself. You guys could be like noticing things about yourself. And your body's responding back to you in a way like communicates back. Taurus! What are you releasing for this week? Taurus, what are you releasing for this week? Taurus, what you releasing for this week, yo? Come on. Stop trying to hide your shit. I shouldn't be having to shuffle 20 times. Come on. I'm gonna pull a card. Alright. You're gonna pull a card then. Surrender your attachments to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen, and then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. That's exactly this kind of the similar message I pulled for Pisces. And it's, I got a Taurus rising. Desired results. One of the things that was so hard for the last 2 weeks is to completely allow myself to feel good without imagining what that feel good could look like the entire 2 weeks. And the reason why I did that is because every time I did have like an idea of what that looked like, I would initially think, oh, this is a great idea. Oh my God, that would be so nice. But it would turn to, like, you see what I'm saying? That's what the language that would come out. Oh, that would be so nice. It would be. That means it hasn't happened. So therefore I'm thinking, oh, I have to wait. And then that waiting makes me feel kind of angry, right? Or upset, or lonely. And like the longing of something. The thing that I envision. But it's not really what I can feel later. Because if I don't feel that now, I won't get it later. I'll be looking everywhere for it, but I won't necessarily have it. It's very similar to what we were talking about Aries. If you look at something, or if you're noticing something in a different way, you probably should notice it, right? Or no, that was Pisces too, I think. Pay attention to red flags. So Taurus, releasing your attachments to results is not to say you shouldn't expect the best, but expect the best without an image of what it looks like. If you have a desired outcome, let that desired outcome be one that you can achieve and have in the present moment. Because if you have something that's out of reach, or if you put a sort of like an idea out there and you want it to happen, it could get lost in translation. It could totally mess it all up. One of the things that I actually, with my girlfriends, she was with me from the very beginning. I told her a lot of things that I didn't want in a boyfriend. Right? Lots of things. I told her like, I didn't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that, right? I had an idea of what I didn't want. But what do you think happened, y'all? I got every piece of it. Every piece. And this is a beautiful gift. It's one of the best gifts I've ever had. But that determination of what you don't want could be the very thing that makes you happy. Could be the very thing that fills you with joy every day. Don't put limitations on it. We just talked about that as a judgment. When we do that, we eliminate the power that it could have to bring us everything that we ever wanted, or more, and more. We have to release the idea, release the mental image, if it's not working anyway. So those of you that totally preach about, visual, that preach about visual manifestation, y'all are special, because I cannot do it. Myself, I get all like, I want that so bad. I want that right now. I'm trying to look all kinds of ways. Like Gemini goes into need to fix it now mode, and then Libra's like, please stop, and Taurus is like, I can't be fucked. I want this shit too. It just doesn't work, So anyway, what will Taurus gain from releasing? What romantic gain will Taurus? Deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. So when you release attachments to results, you start noticing deception, or you're. It's not a bad thing, actually. Because you're kind of like, you're noticing where people may not be representing. That's all it is. Because, deception is not necessarily to say that someone's false, or someone's lying, or someone's being malice in regards to something. It's just that they're not present. They're not present, they're not aware, they're not there. They're empty and they're hollow. But it's not to say, as a judgment, to be like, oh, you should just leave that person because they're not interesting. No. There's something that whoever's being deceitful, it's not to do it. I'm not getting the vibration that they're doing it because they want to. It's because there's a level of depth that's not quite there yet. Or conscientious. Sometimes it could be that somebody's faking it to make it. They want you, but they don't really want you, right? They want the idea of what you represent. Or vice versa. Maybe you want that for someone else. Right? This is why surrendering your attachment to results is coming up. Because if you have had expectations of somebody else, or you have desires that you may have with someone else, and it can't necessarily happen, it's creating a bit of a deception here. Only because you're not being honest with yourself. Sometimes the situation calls for you to allow your heart to find what it wants. And it doesn't have to be with the thing that you think it looks like it should be with. Remember when I was talking about the things I didn't want came true, and it's the thing that made me the most happy? Well, it's also the thing that's also teaching me why I should not have expectation. It's the very thing that shows me how to love without condition. To love without having a certain ideal. It's a hard message to take, but trust me, it sets you free. And it also allows you and alerts you to things that are not consistent, things that make you feel like you're missing a piece. Damn, Taurus. Okay. You're supposed to be having fun, Taurus. God. I'm just kidding. Gemini, what y'all got trying to release this week? Oh, well, we're just gonna come right out of it then. Oh, okay, we're gonna get the same message that we got for Pisces. All right. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you, bro. Okay, like Okay, Gemini, you're doing your best. You're trying your hardest, and I feel like, again, this is very similar to trust. Surrender to receive support and love is on the bottom of the deck. And I'm going to do this for everybody that gets repeat cards. Because it's like, okay, we have that energy going on. But what's the underlying? What is beneath that? Because Pisces was very easy for me to pull it out. There's a reason for this one to come up for you too. because otherwise it would have just left that card for Pisces and gave you a new one. But it's allow the love and support of others in, rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. Now, as a Gemini moon, I do this way too fucking much myself. And this makes sense why Surrender to Spirit's coming up. If you do not trust that other people will have your back in this process that you're trying to grow from, to achieve a goal, to whatever, then you're doing yourself a disservice, mainly because you don't have trust in the people that you have trusted to be in your life. It's super, super simple. And I say simple as in like, this message is right out the gate. Typically I'd be like, what the hell does that mean? But right now it's like, this is the situation. This is the facts. This is what's going on. And so, surrender to Spirit is like, surrender the trust that you have in your friendships, in your relationships, in the people that you reach out for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help because you want to do it yourself. And I know you want to prove to yourself, but you prove to yourself by giving the love and space to receive. Because if you don't receive, how are you going to be able to achieve your goal, right? How are you going to achieve your goal? Sometimes some things you do may not be necessarily self-sustaining, but even you asking for help is power that you're giving or you're putting into something else. Like, okay, when you're asking someone else for help, that's giving away some of your power, not necessarily to like completely relinquish it, but you're like transferring your energy away from a certain area to focus it on something else, so and let someone else handle it for you. So your energy is still at work. It's just like going through a transfer. Or it's like two like ambassadors talking between countries. It's like, hey, I'm doing something here. Can you help me with this? I need extra funds for this. And then the allying country goes, okay, yeah, I can do that for you, sure. And so they dissipate. So this ambassador no longer has to worry about this country or no worry about this area because this country's got it. There's no relinquishing real power, but it is relinquishing power in the sense of you do not have to do it yourself. You can rely on others. You can rely. If you truly trust them. Now, if you don't trust these niggas, then why they in your life? You can't have a relationship without love. Without trust, rather. Oh my goodness. So what you will bring in once you surrender to Spirit is playfulness, to recapture romance and allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Ooh, baby, you gonna have some fun if you let go. Like, it's just allow people to help you. Just allow people to in your life, because it's like walking around with the 10 of Wands. It's straight up the 10 of Wands. You're like, oh my God, I got this. No, I'm about to drop some wands, but I got this. No, you probably don't, but it's okay if you need help. Use that wagon over there. Borrow it from that nigga if you didn't, like, if you can't ask him right now, just take it anyway. Tell him thank you. Say I borrowed it. I'm sorry that I had to borrow it. You know, it's better to ask for forgiveness than it does ask for permission, depending on the energy. Don't do that to a Scorpio though. You always ask first. Just straight up saying. But get some help. It's okay. Not saying like you need help, but when you know that you could just allow people to help you out, it'll do you so much service than trying to do everything on your own. Because you already know you can do it. That's why you are wanting to do it in the first place. But can you allow people to do that for you? Really big message. Cancer darlings. Hello. Will you be my neighbor? I'm not gonna lie, but every time I watch Mr. Rogers, I get very Cancerian feels. And it's not because, like, I don't really know why necessarily. I just love his peacefulness, his calmness. And the show was very still, you know? Like, they'll have music here and there, but it wasn't loud. It wasn't abrasive. It was gentle. And when I think of Cancer, I think of Mr. Rogers. I know. Bear with me. But what does Cancer need to release for this week? What does Cancer need to release for this week? What does Cancer need to release for this week? What is Cancer? What is Cancer looking to release for this week? What is Cancer looking to release for this week? Oh, okay. That changing the question and answer did a lot better. Was a lot better. Oh, surrender stubbornness for all the Cancers. So let me tell you something, y'all. Let me tell you something. Cancers are stubborn as hell. Okay, my grandmother was Cancer. Okay, when that chick, when she had her mind set, she wasn't changing it. Okay, she was a Cancer sun as well. So make sure, guys, that you are also you're looking for your rising and your suns, especially. Not so much your moons. I do that. I do the moon thing because my moon is in the first, so it affects me very much. If you have a moon or any, like your moon is in the first, definitely watch all of them because they are also encompassing the first house energy as well. But for me, because my moon is in the first, a lot of my shit resonates. So this is applying to Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. Now, most of the time when we're stubborn, it's not because the world around us is causing us to be stubborn. It's because we are stubborn because we had done something that kept us from our goals. So now we are just asphyxiated. We're stuck on it, right? At least that's my idea of why stubbornness exists, right? The control to make something happen. The focus, the drive to make something happen. The drive to support a sort of perspective. To support it. Right? And because there may have been something where we may have faltered before and we had doubt and then it was proven and it was represented, like, oh, fuck it, now I'm always going to keep my eyes open. I'm always going to do this. I'm always going to do that. I'm unwavering. And through this unwavering, it can kind of imagine like somebody bunching up the blankets to get closer to themselves and it creates this little thick ass line. But their legs are dangling out on the outside like, man, this is cold. Can we get some covers? Can we get some blankets? And it's like, that's what stubbornness is. When you're like, I have to have the perspective close to me, right? And it's not a bad thing because sometimes you do need to have that stubbornness because some people be thinking that they could try and take your blanket from you, right? They'd be like, can I have some of that? You're like, no, nigga, this is good enough for me. And you're like, no, it's not, but it is. So back up, that's stubbornness. Stubbornness is where it needs. But are you stubborn to the point now where you are depriving yourself of warmth? Are you being cold with yourself by not considering your own needs because you're that stubborn? Have you gotten that point yet? Because if you have, or perhaps you don't deserve all that mess. And are you judging yourself for doing it? Are you judging yourself for the compassion that your stubbornness is not giving to you? If so, it's okay. But understand that there is something here for you. When you allow yourself to be at ease rather than to be uptight. So let's look at what your romantic energy is that's coming in for y'all. That flew out, but okay, fine. Okay, give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. Cancer, Jesus. Okay, so, okay. So, are you guys thinking that there's a situation going on? And or something's going on where you're stubborn and you're not making this relationship work any easier because you're just trying to be the strong man. Like, you're trying to arm wrestle the nigga when he's like, I'm trying to be at peace. What direction are we going? So it's like the person will be like, okay, I'll go down with you, and you're like pulling the arm back up, and you're like, wait a minute, what are you doing? And it's like that. It's like somebody that's trying to, like, you're trying to arm wrestle, right? It's like the energy that you're trying to do is arm wrestle, and the other person just like, I'll be yielding, I'll be willing, and they're like, what? No, let me pull that arm back up. What are we doing? Right? It can cause confusion. Your stubbornness is probably causing a lot of confusion in your romantic life right now because you probably do want it to work, but you don't want to be wrong. Or you don't want it to be something that's not controlled by you. And some of you guys may be thinking, I'm not so fixated on control. I'm not that so fixated on control. Fair enough. But there's something you're stubborn on, and that stubbornness is controlling something. It's controlling the direction. When it says give your relationship a chance, and this thing is saying relinquish stubbornness, it's saying you perhaps have to release some sort of thing that makes you feel that you're in control. Stubbornness is only there to represent what you are in control of. That's why Taurus is considered so stubborn. They will not do anything it doesn't want to do. That is showing where they are controlled. They control themselves. No one else does. So what are you controlling about your relationship right now? Or what are you controlling of yourself that makes it hard for you to enjoy your relationship or work on your relationship? What are you not allowing yourself to do in this relationship that would ultimately make it work if you were just like that for yourself? Because a lot of times it's not necessarily like you're doing this to the other person. At the same time too, relinquish, maybe this is stubbornness from the other person too. Like this could be talking about like, how do I release stubbornness from someone else? You just don't let it affect you. You continue to do what your heart focuses is wanting to do, which is work on the relationship. Release the stubbornness that is believed to be affecting your relationship, whether that is you, whether that's the other person. Because at the end of the day, they can't fucking change you. They can't make you do anything. If you want to work on the relationship, you can work on it. But with, of course, what's fair and limited to you. Don't be so stubborn to continue to work on a relationship if there isn't anything given to you. If there hasn't been any contribution there's no contributing. But you're doing the best that you can with the energy, protecting yourself, which is understandable. But right now, it seems like the situation is not needed. You don't need to do all that work. Like, just do what your heart's trying to do, and if you whenever you get some more material, you work on it. But if you're met with stubbornness and you're the one trying to work on the relationship, hey, you did the best you could. You just wait till you get some more information if you really want to work on it. Continue to be diligent, but diligent in the sense of willingness to be patient and wait, and not so like, let's get it done, let's have it now, or like, I want to be right, or this, whatever, right? Stubbornness has got a lot of stretches in there. So releasing stubbornness will help to work on your relationships, Cancer. Leo! What's going on? What y'all releasing for this week? It was big for y'all because that full moon was in your first house. So, what are you guys releasing for this week? What are you guys releasing for this week? What is Leo releasing for this week? What is Leo looking to release for the week? What is Leo looking to release for this week? What is Leo? Oh, shit. I'm sorry, y'all. Surrender the habit of people pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. Leo. Whoa. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I've never pegged Leo to be very people pleasing. And not in the sense of like, oh, they're so selfish and they focus on themselves. It's not about that. What I am actually saying, though, is that Leo's attention usually does not go to other people. It's focused solely on their heart. That's why they're ruled by the sun. The sun is the heart, right? The representation, or is what the heart is, shows what the heart is, right? Which is a part of you. It's never a part of anybody else, right? So surrendering people pleasing is very interesting to me because I feel like there is some sort of justification with this energy. Right? When we people please, we don't do it to make other people happy. We do it to get some sort of justification as to why we should exist, why we should be desired, why we should be wanted, why we should be loved, why we should deserve happiness. Always putting ourselves in a situation to get some sort of temporary confirmation that being subservient, being unyielding in other people's disposal is the reason as to be the reason as to why you are worth anything. Leo. When I think of Leo, I'm thinking of a big ass castle, one of those really big decked out crowns that had like the red shit and the gold pieces, and they had the little stuff on the top, and like all that kind of fucking gold. And sorry, Leo, you may be too lazy to put away, but that's your shit. Like, if you have an issue with it, You try to take my shit, you about to get your ass stomped. Pretty much. That's what I see Leo. Like, Leo don't give a fuck about nobody. Not because they don't care about anybody, but because that all they need to worry about is what is in view and within their sphere of themselves for themselves. So when I see this card, I get concerned. Why is your attention now going to other people instead of yourself? It's like it's like Leo, yourself has just switched on the low vibration of Aquarius, which is your 7th house, and that is the low vibration. Aquarius can be people pleasing, or they can be doing things for other people and forget to take care of themselves. It's very typical for Aquarius. So what are you doing? Typical for a low vibrational Aquarius, which is what I'm trying to say. But you don't do this. So why do you feel like you're not enough? Why do you have to? Are you getting justification through this? Are you trying to reassure yourself that you are worthy of something? Are you trying to match up, trying to measure up, trying to be in line with other people, and you're not? And is that alignment affecting you and making you feel a certain way? Let's see. What? Okay. You know what? We're gonna stop right for a second. I'm gonna pull why. Why is Leo getting surrender? Surrender the habit of people pleasing. Why is that happening? Why is it coming up? And also, when I see the power of surrender, that surrender card of people pleasing, I also think of enabling. Because think about it, if you're in a set mindset, if you're in a mindset where you don't give a fuck about what other people think, then you will say the truth even if it doesn't really feel that good to other people. Right? I don't know how many Leos have done this. But if you guys see something off, you have no issue with saying it. But when you're busy trying to people please, or you're trying to enable something, because that is what people pleasing is. It's enabling. When you are enabling something, and sometimes maybe this people pleasing thing isn't really people. Maybe it's you enabling something of yourself to overlook something prominent about yourself, and you're not really taking action about what to do with that. It could just kind of go all kinds of ways, right? Because we don't do anything when we're people pleasing. We're not doing anything for anybody other than ourselves. We're not truly doing it. We're not representing. We're not doing nothing. When we people please, we are focused on what we are trying to accomplish for ourselves, which is enabling to whatever we are trying to justify in ourselves, which may or may not be true half the time. And you know the cards that came out is the World and 9 of Pentacles. Now the 9 of Pentacles talks about being stuck in not really stuck in a comfort zone, because that's the 4 of Pentacles. The 9 of Pentacles talks about, being on your own, but you're on your own devices. You're separate from the world. You're in a utopia, a place of zen and peace. Something that has to do with what you can control, the area, the sphere of what you can control. Right? It's a great energy to have. Right? 9 of Pentacles is also independence. It's also it's like pure just like I'm a single woman that knows how to be strong and handle my world. You've got physical representation of your own isolation though, because the 9 of Pentacles is isolation, and the World talks about the cycle coming to an end. Like it's almost like you acknowledge that there's something that's constant that's keeping you from being able to evolve, to move to the next level, to move to the next phase of your life. And that hurdle is your own well. It's your own goddamn well. It's your own home that's standing in the way. It kind of gives it that impression that's what's happening. Because the first card that came out first was the 9 of Pentacles, and then the World. This is why this surrender the habit of people pleasing is coming out. Because there's something here with the 9 of Pentacles that's got you locked in, but not because of any outside influence. Understand, this is just you. And then you got the World here that's like, hey, we out here, we're ready to party, ready to rock. You good? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a little minute. Are you serious? Because how you people pleasing if there's nobody around you? That don't make no sense. How you gonna get 9 of Pentacles, but people pleaser? Like, right? Like, you can't do that by yourself. So what people are you trying to please? Who are you trying to please? Are you trying to please yourself? Are you just enabling something that allows you to not have a resistance to the way people have treated you, therefore it looks like people pleasing? Yo, it's a big energy, but the world is Saturn's gifts. Ooh. It's a Saturn, the world is Saturn's gift. And you have gifts waiting for you. Celebration, excitement, a new journey, a new gift of life coming for you. It's right on the other side. But what's keeping it from happening at this time is that there's some sort of enabling energy around you that's keeping you comfy where you are, but no, it's not getting you anything else. It's just like the Four of Pentacles, but the only difference is that it's the entire sphere of your life, not just a couple things that you're holding on to because you're afraid to lose it. You're not afraid to lose your independence with the Nine of Pentacles. You're not afraid to do anything, but it is uncomfortable to step outside of your element. And one of the things that I know for sure about the Nine of Pentacles is that they're ready. There's no real resistance. You are keeping yourself at the Nine of Pentacles. No one's asking you to stay there. But there is like this readiness. There's this readiness. And what you get from releasing the habit of people pleasing is forgiveness and learning. Forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. So it's like when you hold yourself back with the Nine of Pentacles, why are you staying behind? Like, if you notice she's peering out of the water, like, maybe there's something more out there for me. Because remember, maybe there was a village or something surrounding this well, and she used to have people all around her. She used to have fun. She used to think everything was great. Like, oh, cool, this is awesome. I got little kids getting water. And then the waterman comes in to get more water in me. But now there's nobody there to do that, because she could do that herself. And the world around her kind of just like, we changing. We're not the same. You know, I'm going to take this out off. It's pissing me off. It's just gonna come off. But anyway, but that's it. The world around her moved on. She didn't. And this card is saying the past is still relevant to you. And it's not current. It's a setback, it's a delay. But it's also a reflection as to how far you've come so you can embrace who you are now. Embrace who you are now. Don't look at the past of what you could have, should have done. Not the past as far as why, you are here. It's about what you are going to do about what you are going to do. That's it. What are you going to do about what you're going to do? And are you going to do it? Because the world is like, we got you. It just takes some, it's like, I think the forgiving stuff has already happened here. Or there needs to be forgiving by not analyzing it, but not dwelling on it, but not focusing on it, because all you've got is all of it focused around you. It's like breaking a chain, y'all. Alright. I need to pull those extra cards for Leo. Sorry, y'all. So let's get on with that. So through releasing habits of people pleasing, you will be able to forgive and learn and open your world to newer possibilities. Woo! Leo. Hitting us with some deep ass messages today. Jesus. God. We're only halfway through the zodiac as well. But we're going to be talking about Virgo. What's up, Virgo? Virgo. What's up? What's up? What's up, Virgo? What is Virgo looking to release this week? Oh, okay. Well, we're just going to be straight out with it. Your need to always be right. Okay, yo. I'm going to put this down right quick. Okay. What? Okay. Surrender your need to always be right. Now, I'm having this problem too because my North Node is in Virgo. And that's the biggest thing why I kept a lot of my stuff hidden for a long time. Because I didn't want to be told I was wrong. I hated to be told I was wrong. Because I was tired of being told I was wrong and not given a solution or a way to fix it. So, oh, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you're doing that wrong. But it felt like it was in the right direction. I don't like being told. I don't like to hear that my emotions are wrong. Because I already tell myself that. Right? It's just like a piece. I don't have that problem now. I mean, I still do sometimes, but I'm overcoming that because it doesn't make no sense. But anyway, surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. It's a big one. And it's like saying, it's not saying, oh, you know, at this time I'll pretend that what you're saying is right. It's not that means. Not necessarily, I'm not saying pretend, but like just, if you're trying to shove like some sort of ideas down someone's throat, or you're trying to convince someone that this way of being is an ideal way of being, and it doesn't really click for them, you don't have to worry. Not saying they will learn that your way is the right way, but they will learn a way. And that's all you need to worry about. They will learn a way. If the way that they're going in is not working, there's no need to worry about it. Be yielding and not rigid. It helps resolve conflicts and improve relationships. To just let the person make the fucking mistake. And I get it, it's because you've been in a place perhaps where you didn't heed advice or you didn't listen to yourself, and therefore you ended up hurting yourself somewhere. And it happens. But that is our journey, and that's what we do, because we need to understand why the fuck we do shit. We do. Like, that's our life. Like, we have to figure out why we need to do something. Why do we need to think a certain way? Why do we need to have a certain perspective? Why? Why do we need to go in this direction? No, I'm not going to do that. And then you find out. But it's not like a, look what you did, you fucked up. And that's the judgment that needs to, of personal responsibility, that it doesn't really give you back power because you're not utilizing the power. You're just using your power to whip yourself constantly. That's not really something that we want to do. So when it says release your need to be right, it's not really saying this that you're wrong for being right. It's saying that instead of trying to convince the world or even yourself that you are right, just live in the truth. Don't worry about trying to make it real. Just prove it. Just be it. Because at the end of the day, proving it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit. Because if you live by the way that you want to live and you live good, or you live by the way that you want to live and it's bad, you at least know. And it doesn't matter if it's wrong or right, because there is no such thing as that. That's why this need to be right is coming up. Because there's no right or wrong. Your method is a method. That's all it is. It's not correct. It's not incorrect. It just is. It's just a method. And if you have this sort of ideology in your head for yourself when you're doing something, are you really being that compassionate? But here's what you guys will get out of releasing what you think, releasing your need to always be right. And it is finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. So when you're trying to go in a direction like, no, this has to be the way, it's almost like it's kind of closing the gaps to the potential that you can, to the amount of abundance that you could potentially manifest. And it's like, it's unlimited. It's unlimited. Look at that. Even, okay, something fell in our closet. Okay, but look at this. Attraction. You're attractive. You attract romantic energy by enjoying this moment fully. By not considering whether or not something is right or wrong. By not judging a certain method for being the ultimate truth or the ultimate failure. Or the ultimate fallacy. Just do what feels good. Because that's what's right. Not what, because there's no such thing as societal correction, happiness, right, wrong. That's why the censorship is so fucking stupid. With YouTube, the whole thing. Censoring people because someone else doesn't really want to don't tell the person don't watch YouTube. Tell the person not to. Censoring people, that's not the right way. Censoring stuff, that's not the right way. Why isn't that the right way? Because it was nothing wrong with it in the first place. People reacted to things and they judged the situation instead of realizing that their judgment is actually coming from their own insecurity. And you helped us to know this, Virgo, not by doing it, but because you are the root. You are reality. The polar opposite is non-reality. Pisces, you are reality. You brought it to our attention. This is your energy showing us that, hey, this is what happens when you think something is right. This is what happens when you think something should be a certain way. You limit. You limit, y'all. So it limits your potential to grow financially. So it's like that, y'all. It's like that. Release that feeling of like whatever you think you're doing, just know that you're doing the best that you can. Not that you're doing the thing that should be right. Don't do things that you think you should do. Do things that you know feels good. Because that is the only thing that matters. Because at the end of the day, you can do everything right from A to Z, and you can still fuck shit up. Trust me, I know. You can still fuck shit up, so just focus on what feels good. Alright, Virgo. Hitting us with a little wisdom today. Goddamn. Alright then. Libra. What's up, my Libra sisters and brothers? I have a chick chat in a little bit. Been waiting so long. My name is Ashkin. I'm a Gemini man. Am I going to get any big opportunities in the upcoming week? That depends on what you do, man. If you are proactive in doing what you need to be doing for yourself instead of focusing on what you should be doing, we'll see. No one can predict that shit. You can predict it by not trying to predict it. Okay? And I mean, I'm not meaning it to be like, ooh, in your face, but like, seriously, y'all, we need to stop fucking with this whole predictive stuff. Seriously, it doesn't do anything. Predicting shit doesn't fucking do nothing. Again, it's creating limitations. Do you want a limit on your happiness? Do you want somebody to tell you that you can only be happy with beans for the rest of your life? Like, the only thing that's going to make you happy for the rest of your life is fucking baked beans. Do you really want somebody to tell you that the only thing that's going to make you happy is one thing? Do you really want to limit the potential of greatness? Because I fucking don't. And if you do, cool. I'm fucking excellent. But if you don't, then don't worry about it. Just know that you are a great opportunity. And what like attracts like. Libra. Very perfect for Virgo. Libra. And I sound so impatient about it, but it's because it's like I've told so many people this, the clients, people I read with, people I've talked to that I don't read for, and it's like if you sit there and predict every little step, you are going to miss something. We just talked about this with Pisces. Focus on what you're supposed to do. You got surrender to spirit. Don't fucking worry. Surrender to trust. Libra, it's like you got the same message as Gemini. And I'm not irritated, by the way. This is not me being irritated. I'm sassy. What can I say? I don't actually care. What does that mean? Like, what is like, oh, you don't care about our well-being, you don't care about, no. It just means I don't actually, there's nothing that's weighing on me about what choices do you make, whether you want to predict something or not. And it's funny that prediction comes up, but surrender to trust is what's coming up for Libra. Trust yourself in decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. And now I had this crisis actually literally before I got on stream. And it was about talking about the power of judgment. Like, oh, should I be talking about this? Am I even ready for that? Is this going to be giving back to the community? Am I going to be helping people? Yes. And it don't matter whether or not it's going to, it's going to affect people in a positive manner. It's not meant to. It's not meant to be about people. That's what I meant. It's meant to deliver a message that I've been wanting to say for ages. A message that I've been feeling led to communicate to all of us together as we sit here. We could talk about judgment. We could talk about all these things. But the point of everything is not to please others. Very similar to Leo. Habit of people pleasing? Trust yourself. Trust that you know where you're going, Libra. Because if you don't have trust, you're going to always kind of double second guess yourself. That's what leads to the second guessing. The thing that gives us the wonderful logo of indecisive. We're not indecisive necessarily. There's a lot of us, lower vibrations, they are indecisive. And not in the sense of like with like the small stuff, because we can, like, honestly, who cares a fuck about the small stuff? That's why we become more indecisive, because it's like super small, it doesn't mean that much, but I want to analyze it. But it's like with bigger shit, like with things that truly do matter, and it's just sitting on the fence, or like because you don't trust your initial reaction. Libra weighs the sides, but think about it. It takes a little time before everything kind of settles. And once it settles, you can see where it is. You don't have to wait for it to fucking stop, though, to figure it out. You just notice that it's going in a direction, and it seems to slow down at a certain rate. You go. You do whatever you need to do to make this. You see it bouncing like that. Slow down. You already know what direction it's going to be in. You don't have to wait for it to stop. And ultimately, just trust. Just trust yourself. Because one of the things I've noticed too is that the reason why Libra is an inanimate object in the zodiac is because I think everything about Libra is missing feeling. When we do the blinded weighing, right? The inanimate object being the scale, it looks like it's nothing, right? Because something is an inanimate. That's not true, because if that was the case, it wouldn't be able to weigh anything. It has to sense what's being felt on either side, so we can sense what's balanced. That trusting of our senses is what's important to be able to balance. You got that balance in you. You got that sense, because we are scales. We got that sense, so you can do the same. But you have to trust that you can still sense, and you don't have to see. You don't have to see. You just feel. Really. Promise. Judgment is 20. 2 is feeling. Trust me. Okay, what will you get from trusting? From surrendering to trust? What is the romantic or loving energy that will come in from surrendering to trust? Oh, okay. Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. I'm not gonna lie, I hate this card. But this card isn't necessarily because it's bad. It's just because it's a little annoying because I have to figure out what this means. Because it's not super clear and straightforward to me. Because religious upbringing and spiritual path could be just like as simple as a certain direction in which you believe you are meant to go. There's going to be things that are going to be contradicting you on the way forward by sensing what feels right and what feels balanced. Like, for instance, right? I've always been monogamous. I've always believed in monogamy. Right? Not because of it's partly because of my religious and my spiritual upbringing, my path, and truly my own personal preference as well. I only wanted to deal with one person. But as I got into different relationships, I've started to understand the fascination, the excitement, the benefits of being in a polygamous relationship. It's totally against what I used to think. It's not bad though. It's questioning things. The religious factors is like, it's questioning things. What do you allow? What do you accept? What should you and shouldn't let pass for yourself, for your sanity? What should you let pass? What should you experiment with? What should you consider? How do you really know, based off of what you've known for your entire life, if that is truly who, what, and how you represent yourself? Trust, and you will discover that there's something different along the path. And it may feel like you're betraying yourself or betraying certain morals, or you're leaving behind a comfort zone, but that's the point. That's the whole point. We're being the Hierophant and changing our belief systems because of what we are sensing about what is balanced is not in alignment with our old beliefs. That's why things are going crazy in my life right now, and I have not lost my shit. Like, I haven't lost it. Like, I feel like, I feel vulnerable, I feel small sometimes, and I feel exhausted, but I'm not scared. Not really. I'm scared in the sense of excited, like I wonder what's going to happen. But, like, I'm not terrified. I'm not dreading. I don't hate myself. You know what I mean? And I would have hated myself probably if I went back down that same path that truly does not serve. Spiraling into a mess of stress because I doubt my ability to be able to take care of myself. So, you, by surrendering to trust, by trusting that you can sense what's fair and balanced, and when you sense it and you feel like it's clicked and it's right, you keep moving with it, you will also recognize the things that may have been covered up, hidden, restricted, held back from the understanding of yourself because of certain beliefs and ideals that you may have had previous. Pretty strong message, Libra. Thank you. Thank you. Scroll. Scorpio. Sorry. Whoa. Oh, all right. Damn. Give me a chance, Scorpio. I don't know why I said Scorpio, but seriously though, Scorpio, you have surrender defensiveness. Scorpio, what? And you guys are like, uh-oh, here we go. She's gonna say it. She's gonna do stuff. She's gonna say stuff. Hell yeah, I'm gonna say something. What you mean you defensive? What you mean? What's up? Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. Okay, well, let me get back to that in a second. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered and hear someone out, then offer a clear, undefensive response. Kind of crazy. I was just talking to someone that represented Scorpio energy, and I was telling them how defensive they were, and it was funny. That card is coming up now, and I'm just kind of like, but aside from me putting in my shit, Scorpio, you got surrender defensiveness. What are you defensive about? What are we defensive about? What are we defending ourselves against that we are projecting onto others as if they are actually attacking us? Because all defensiveness is that you're trying to protect yourself from thoughts that are already playing in your head that other people are saying back to you, or saying back to you pretty much. That's it. So like, you have this in your mind, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not happy, everything sucks. Someone else around you is like, oh my god, everything around you seems so miserable, and you don't look happy, and you look like you're not happy at all, like, oh my god, and you're just like, what? I'm totally happy, what are you fucking talking about? And it's like, that's the other part of your brain that's saying, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear it. That's the other part of your brain talking to yourself. But instead, there's someone else around you that can mock that part of your brain that's giving you all that talking about something totally not actually, like, not something that you want to believe or even listen to, because it's outside of your path. It doesn't make you feel good, but it justifies something, right? In your mind, you're telling shut the fuck up. Some of you guys may not even be doing that, but you're like justified in your defensiveness to be a certain way. Some of you guys may be like, oh my god, you need to be happy, or you need to do something else. And some people don't need to be telling anybody what to do anyway. But the fact of the matter is that whatever they're saying may not even be about you, and you're still making it about yourself. Not because you're not noticing, not because, you're just self-centered. It's not about that. The noise in your head is so loud. Think about it. Like, I'm an air sign. I got two fucking signs, two fucking placements of planets in my fucking head, dude. I got twins in my mind. You can bet your ass I can understand. Two of them going like this all the time. One saying one thing, the other person saying the other. And then Libra's like, okay, what is up? And then Taurus is like, fuck it, I don't know. Like, it's like that chatter can be so fucking loud and you don't notice that you're projecting it. Trust me, I did it all year last year, and I still do it to some degree now. That chatter be so loud that you're not listening to the other person. You're not actually listening to them. You're listening to the thoughts that are telling you something that makes you feel like you can't do anything other than defend, justify. So when you're defensive, it's like saying, hey, don't be defensive, Scorpio. It's not that. It's what are you trying to be defensive of? What is your mind torturing you about right now? Because that's concerning. Why are you torturing yourself? What is part of yourself is torturing you? Take personal responsibility for the torture that you're being under so you can stop the torture. If you notice that you're the one stabbing yourself with the knife, you can take the power back, stop stabbing yourself with the knife, get yourself some bandages. This is not a judgment. This is just compassion. And I understand because I was like that too. Y'all already probably know what part of you is being defensive. I probably don't need to look into it. I'm probably going to look into it still anyway. Scorpio. What are they being defensive about? What is Scorpios being defensive about? Another chance? Oh, man. Scorpio, man. So, are you defensive about what new opportunities will come in and whether or not you're like, hopefully you're not doubting yourself and your abilities to execute the next step, or perhaps are you justifying or defending something that's not happening because either it's not meant to happen or you feel like it's better off that way, not happening at all? Because I mean, the Wheel of Fortune is to talk about a change of luck, and great things can come from Jupiter's card here. Right? Mainly because if our focus is good, we got it. But if we're defensive on Jupiter's gift, then that means that we don't feel like we are worthy or to some degree, or there's something that we just don't feel like we deserve, or there's something going on where you are defensive of another opportunity. Whoa. And the power of releasing something. It's not, I mean, to me, it's defensiveness it leaves you more vulnerable than you realize by being defensive. And I think that's what they mean by weakness in this card. It's not that you are weak, because you are not weak. You are one of the scariest signs in the zodiac for a reason. You ain't weak. It just leaves you way more vulnerable, because when you're defensive, you're focusing your attention away from the areas where you're more aware, where you could be more aware. When our attention is focused on most of our attention is focused on one area, especially in the efforts of defensiveness because we feel attacked, we are not being aware of the surroundings anymore. The noise that's saying, hey, look at this, look at that, and what's checking my area. Like, think about it. It's like someone that's checking the radar, but something's happening outside of their unit to be able to, and they have to get their guns and stuff and start shooting at whatever it is that's attacking them at the present time. But that leaves the radar vulnerable and open for anybody to just kind of take advantage of the situation. If somebody's not monitoring the incoming enemies or incoming allies, nobody will know that they are actually being protected. So what happens is the person that has that radar that's not being monitored doesn't know if they're shooting a friendly or an enemy. That's what defensiveness does. And this is not to say that, hey, you being defensive is a bad thing, you need to stop, because it's not easy. It's not easy. But we have to figure out why you're being defensive, because that's a form of judgment that you're putting on yourself that is ultimately taking your attention away from being able to look and see who are the friendlies and who are the people that are actually not your friends. This is not to say you're doing anything wrong, Scorpio, so please understand that. It's really just saying that your attention is focused on something else, and it's hard to determine whether your friends or your family or the enemies around you are truly having your back, or everybody feels like they're trying to slag a punch. And it's not because of them actually trying to slag a punch. It's because you've been throwing punches at yourself for so long that you haven't really noticed how it left you more vulnerable, because there wasn't really any self-care and love. And self-care meaning giving yourself a second chance. Giving yourself another opportunity. Not totally dumping trash on yourself because one time went wrong. One time didn't work as planned. One time didn't really happen in the way that you wanted it to. But you have an opportunity to do it differently because you know what to do differently. And you shouldn't judge yourself for something that's happened in the past that you know way better now how to handle it. So let's see what you bring in to releasing defensiveness. Oh, snap. So that one fell face down. I'm not picking that up. That card is not for us. Okay, Scorpio? Not for us. Ooh, wedding. Oh my god, wow. The situation involves marriage. Okay. So for some of y'all, this could just legitimately be like y'all getting married. Or this could be talking about the fact that you guys have a strong commitment. You reconnect, or you connect with the person that you feel the most connected to. Like, think about it. A marriage is a bond that is unbreakable. Like, it's so hard to break. Like, you are in deep when it comes to it legally. That's how fucking deep marriage is. Like, being a girlfriend and boyfriend is nice. That's cool. But marriage is serious. Mainly because it takes so long to separate. It's so hard to separate. And it's almost like you have interwoven all these little facets of your life into the other person. You've become one with that individual. But it's not because legally it says so. With when we do tarot and this card comes up through cards, it's talking about a way more deeper connection than any sort of legal system could ever represent or even attempt to. So you got a serious connection with someone. Very serious, which is why this defensiveness is coming up. You feel something. And defensive is not trusting yourself, because you're judging yourself from a past experience, perhaps. But this past experience is also showing you where you could have potential to be great. And you are defending yourself against the nagging thoughts of what happened last time, fighting against those constantly, so everyone looks like they're attacking you for what happened before. But you are not like that. You are not that way. And you are changed significantly. But you have to stand in your power of noticing that for yourself by giving yourself compassion, love, and forgiveness. Compassion, love, and forgiveness. Think of it like the wedding says, "Till death do us part." "To death do us part" is a very big saying for me, mainly because it says, "I will love you to the ends of the earth, no matter what happens, no matter what we go through. I will love you forever." That's unconditional love. And wedding represents unconditional love. But we don't get wedding if we don't have unconditional love for ourselves. Do you have any right now? And if you don't, are you going to try and get some? Are you going to try and love on yourself a little bit this week? Because I think we all need a little bit of love, TLC, some little bit of some care, but not like in the way that we think. Saggies, what's up? Oh shoot, okay, that's a lot going on. Shit, calm your asses down. Shit. Okay, what's going on? And the Sagittarius that I'm living with walks into the room. No coincidence at all, guys. No coincidence. Alright, Sagittarius, what we got to release this week? What are we looking to release, Sagittarius? What are y'all looking to release this week? What are we looking to release this week? What are we looking to release this week? Ooh. We are looking to release... Oh, oh my god. Okay, so you guys are looking to release or surrender your fear of change. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you're afraid of or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. Now, one of the things I was just talking about actually with some friends of mine is that Sagittarius is actually the most stubborn. Like, I'm not saying that he's the most stubborn out of all the signs, but he is, she, like my sister, I used to think that the reason why she was stubborn was because of her Taurus moon. I was wrong. It was her Sag. Why? Because my dad, he's a Sag. He's got a Pisces moon. That nigga is stubborn as hell. He is stubborn to the flow up for, like, he got no Taurus up in there. I mean, I gotta check again to make sure. But last I checked, he don't got no Taurus nowhere. He got no Taurus nowhere. They stubborn. Y'all stubborn. But your stubbornness is usually from a certain, like, to avoid something of displeasure. The reason why I know is because I got Mars and Venus in Sagittarius. And I fear this change too. It's scary, man. You don't know. It's outside of your control. It's outside of your element of, reality, right? It's like it's coming at you from a different angle and you ain't ready for it, but you are ready for it. That's the trick. That's the secret. You're ready. You've been ready for a while, but you just didn't give yourself the opportunity to feel that readiness. You just like, okay, well, I need to prepare. I need to have all these things. Like my dad, he has zombie equipment, like apocalypse equipment at the house. Like I was just like, what? And he was like, we ain't done yet. We still gotta get some stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. He's preparing for the apocalypse. Okay? Now, I'm not just saying that, all Sagittarians believe in the conspiracy theory of apocalypse, nor am I saying that he shouldn't prepare. But we are ready no matter what. We don't need to have things. We don't need to have a certain bank account. We don't need to have anything. We are ready for the changes. But the thing is, are you going to let yourself be that ready? Are you going to allow yourself to be like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. Jump right in. Jump right into the pool. You know it's going to be cold. But when you get in there, you feel that water, you let that sun sit on you for a sec. You know that cold is going to go away. You just got to initially get rid of it. Get rid of that ice cold water there. You got to let your body warm up. You got to let your body feel it. Feel good in it. Adjust to it. It's like jumping into a pool, y'all. It's like jumping into a pool. You're ready to go. You got your swimsuit on. The nice sun is outside saying, you got this. Showing you that the pool is nice and clear. No poop in there. No vomit. You're good to go. No glass. Your trousers are well tight. You're going to stay on. It's going to stay on your booty. Because you know. What's stopping y'all? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to lose control for a second. Don't be afraid to not know something. Don't be afraid to expect the unexpected. I think, honestly, this fear of change will knock some of that spontaneity energy right back into your system, because Saturn snatched that from you about a couple years ago. He's like, no, you want to be spontaneous, you want to be unpredictable, well then, good luck. It's just about slapping that spontaneity back on that ass. It's like, boom, psh, go boy, go girl, do your thing, kind of thing. You got this. And releasing that sphere of change, what romantic energy will you seek? Or will you gain? What romantic energy, what loving energy will you receive? What will fill in its place? Oh, I love this. Trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. When you surrender your fear of change, you give yourself back to yourself because you trust that you can survive it. That is the affirmation. I have faith that all is well. And having faith in yourself that all is well is the point. Oh man, what an amazing message, y'all. Truly, fear about anything is just not trusting, y'all. You don't trust yourself. And it could be because you're judging yourself from a past situation. You're judging a situation where you did take a change, you did take a leap of faith, and it didn't work out. And how you recovered was hard, it was bumpy, but you recovered, and it was difficult, but you are here now. You are great, you're grand, you know you can survive. But that change wasn't the thing that you're afraid of. You're afraid of what you will do with yourself after such change. And you'll be fine. Because why? How do I know? Because you already did the self-care and the love with this trust energy. You already given yourself back to yourself. You're good, you're solid, you're grand. Totally awesome message. Thank you, Sagittarius, for that message, okay? And I should have said thank you to Scorpio and Virgo and Leo and Cancer and Gemini. Thank you guys for your message. Okay, Capricorn, straight out the gate. Surrender negative thinking. I can't even. We gotta just pop these out. We're gonna be popping these out like nobody's business. We'll be popping these like candy all day today. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thinking surfaces, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Because what do negative thinking do? It reinforces negative vibration. Now, what is a negative vibration? Oh, negative vibration is bad. Negative vibration is not bad. If we didn't have negative vibration or negative energy, we wouldn't have batteries. We wouldn't have sex. Think about it, niggas. Think of it like this, like an integer. Well, I'm going to use a penis, for example. The penis is the canal in the vagina, right? That's what makes the vagina, right? It's the inverted version. The balls are the ovaries for the woman. We are the negative, mainly on the integer portion, if you think about it, because there's nothing sticking outside of us other than our clitoris. That is the skin in which creates a penis. That's the skin that's stretched out to make a penis, if the sex is so chosen inside the womb at the time. But think of it, negative, right, is away from the point on the other side, on the left, and then positive is on the right. That's why wrong is left and right is right. But there's the thing. Here's the thing. Nothing is right. Nothing is wrong. This takes, this gives. That's the thing. That's what makes it, negative and positive. Negative and positive is nothing more than give and take. Give and take. Give and take. That's why there's a balance that's needed. That's all it is. It's a flow. Think about it, like if you do the salsa and always stick your foot out, you're not dancing. You look crazy. If you stick your foot out, you look crazy. You gotta do the balance of both. Step forward, step back. Put your foot in, take your foot back out. Give your foot in, take your foot back out. That's dancing. That's salsa dancing, right? Stick your foot out, put it back in. Stick your foot out, put it back in. You're swaying with the movement. But there's nothing wrong with either of those. They actually create a beautiful blend of energies. A flow, a movement, of sound, of sight. That's where we get our artwork from, niggas. That's where we get our artwork from. So we cannot start calling negative stuff bad. But we also have to notice where the negative is coming from. Because negative just wants, it just takes. It doesn't steal. I mean, it can if it's left uncontrolled. But the negative energy, when it comes up, is saying, I need, I want. It's like a little baby. The baby is being negative when it says, I need, I want. But it's not being negative in the sense of like, oh, they're disempowering themselves, or they're being bad, they're being terrible. They're just saying they're needing something. There's emptiness. There's something that needs to be filled. That's why the vagina is negative, because they need something to fill it in order to have a baby. A dick is positive, but because it needs something to do. Come on, right? They're not bad. But Capricorn, your message is surrender negative thinking. Don't think that what you need or what you are wanting is something that has to be given or done from outside of yourself. You have all the control in the world to make sure that you get what you are needing and wanting. You have to just know that you are the it of how that's going to happen. And if you have been already in the process of making your void full, then you don't need to continue to dwell on the thought process of need, want, because there is, with negativity as well, patience, dark energy, negative energy. Those are all, that is where the patience starts. You wait. You don't continue to accrue, you just wait. You stop and you wait. I'm not saying stop your actions, but you stop wanting, you stop needing, you just wait. And you provide, excuse me, oh my God. Sorry y'all, but you just continue to give. You continue to get by being. Does that make sense, y'all? So let's see what you guys get from surrendering negative energy. And I don't think this negative energy is saying to stop thinking those thoughts. It's about stopping, acknowledging the need, assessing why you need it, and what you can do to fix it. That's why it says thank you for sharing, because it's saying, hey, thank you for giving me that alert that I'm empty. It's like your body saying, oh, like for instance, when your stomach is gurgling and it starts to hurt because you're so hungry, that's not a bad thing. It's your body letting you know, hey, I'm empty right now. We're hitting negative X, Y, Z. Can you put some food up in here? Thank you. That's not bad. Your body has a negative way of thinking too, and it's to give you an alert when something's empty, like your stomach. It's just, how do you assess that negative energy? How do you assess that negative thinking or that alert that something's empty? So, interesting. So let's see what you will gain by releasing negative energy. Surrendering negative thinking. Because also, thinking is not necessarily always true. So, when the thinking comes up too, it's like you have to figure out whether or not the thinking is legitimate or valid. Because your heart knows when it's on the right path. The mind will always consider and tinker and think and like, oh, this isn't good enough. But the expectations in your mind, if they're making it so that the feeling in which you're going is not good enough in your mind, then your mind is not speaking the same language as your heart, which needs to be in sync. So therefore, to me, when I see negative thinking, it's like, okay, is your mind telling the truth? Because your mind can lie to you too, because they want something that badly. If you want something that badly, the mind will come up with any way to convince you of doing whatever it needs you to do to get what it wants. But if you know heart of heart that you're doing what you need to do, perhaps those things that are coming in needs to be told, you need to be more patient. It's coming. It's happening soon. Relax. You know? So what you guys have here is love yourself first. Okay, guys. Okay. We've been having these all goddamn day. And I'm just be straight up. Just be straight up with you. This is some scary ass shit. How freaking accurate and on point and well synced this is. Like, holy Christ. Like, whoa. Love yourself first. This is exactly what I was saying. You give yourself what you need. You give yourself what you need. You love yourself first. You put yourself first. You're like, if something's empty, I'm gonna go fill it. That's it. Not complicated. And you don't need to go fill it with things. You need to fill it with real things, with feeling, with love, with things that make you feel good. No, you know, and it's not like to like, okay, my mind is angry, my mind is telling me I need something, I'm gonna play video games. Unless that is what's going to fill the void, don't do that, because it's distracting. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself. Whatever your body needs you to do, that you're not really wanting to do, that you procrastinate on all the time, just do it. Because it's nagging you and making you feel like shit for not doing it. Just do what you feel you should be doing instead of brushing it off. So you don't have to feel like you have to play video games. Do something that's distracting from the thoughts that actually aren't fixing anything. So, surrendering negative thoughts opens the door to receiving love from the self. True love from the self. Because you're considering your needs. It allows you the ability to consider your needs. To release negative thinking. Which is really to, notice that it's there. Letting that go instead of letting it harbor in. letting it go because you're going to do something that gives you what it needs, what it's negative about. You are providing what's negative about it. Not to shut it up, not to compensate it, not to ignore it, but to truly love on it and satisfy it. Satisfy that part of yourself that's telling you that something is not enough. Something's not, you need something. You want something. Okay? Holy smokes. We went on for about 3 hours, a little bit past time as I like, but honestly, I'm probably going to stop timing these. Mainly just because, you know, messages are messages. They come in whenever they come in. And I actually enjoy doing that. I don't know about anybody else. But one of the closing arguments or closing things I want to say is that judging people, doing all these things that we have been doing, like for instance, our whole world is right now is on the fate of judgment. Because everybody wants to judge somebody. Either somebody was rejected and therefore they feel judged and therefore they judge others, right? It happens all the time with LGBT. The LGBT community happens all the time with black people. It happens all the time with brown people. It happens all the time with any sort of dynamic that's different from each other. When there's a recognition of differences, there isn't a beautiful, let's kumbaya, work together. In dire straits, we need not to just be sitting here thinking about what we should be doing and how someone should be better or how someone needs to be better because of their race, because of their ethnicity, because of their sexual orientation. Who gives a fuck? Stop thinking these things because they don't fix anything. They have never fixed anything. When has judging someone else fixed something? It's only led to more demise. We're here now because of judgment. Do you want us to destroy ourselves? Do you want us to look like fucking Mars? Do we want to be like Mars? I don't want to be like Mars. So I'm not going to sit here and judge my brethren. I'm not going to sit here and judge my sister. I'm not going to sit here and do any of that shit because it deviates from the point. The point is love and compassion because that brings shit together and that fixes stuff. Even if we are enemies, I'm not going to sit here and judge you all day and all night because at the end of the day, I need your help. We are all responsible for whatever this fucking planet goes into. Whatever it goes into. You are responsible. I'm responsible. The next person around us is responsible. We are all responsible. We're all responsible. The coronavirus, we are all responsible for that. I don't give a fuck if it's just in China. We are all fucking responsible. Because those people need help too. We need help. All of us needs help. But we don't help anybody with judging. We have never helped anybody by putting them in a box and telling them that they should be more. And the reason why those things come up is because we don't feel like we're enough. We don't feel like we're more. We need not to think these things. We need not to have that conversation because it don't matter. It defeats the purpose. It doesn't make any sense to constantly dwell on something that doesn't fix shit. It's like banging your head against the wall. What do you think is going to happen? Either you're going to pass out or you're going to make a hole in the wall. Either way, somebody's going to have to fix something. Either it's going to be your brain or it's going to be the goddamn wall. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's honestly sit here and think. What does it fucking matter? Let's not get caught up in the gossip. Let's not get caught up in the bullshit. Because at the end of the day, you matter. You are worthy. You are full of love. You are full of power. And when you relinquish that power to judgment, you're doing everyone, including yourself, a disservice. And you wonder why in your life you're not happy. It's because you haven't taken the power that you put into judgment and just put it into the love of the things that you are and do and everything else. Judgment is the last thing that anybody needs to be focusing on because it doesn't fix or change anything in your life. Because you are perfect. You are good enough. Everyone is good enough. No matter what the fuck they're doing, no matter what the fuck they believe, you are good enough. You are strong enough. You are powerful enough. You are good where you are right now. There is nowhere else you should have been. I can tell you that right now. Why? Because you are here. Because if that was the case, if you shouldn't have been here, if you things should have been better, it would have been. But it's not. So get over it. Like, I could have been in a better place. I could have been in a better apartment. I could have been in a better fucking state. I could have had a better relationship. I could have had a better lot of things. But I'm here because I need to be, because everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. And instead of judging the circumstances that we are in, we need to just see what needs to change, where our energy, where our power was misdirected and used to create the thing we don't want now. But it's no one else's fault. It's not even your fault. It's not about fault. It's not about blame, because blaming shit don't fix anything either. Watch Interstellar. See how that blaming shit happens. What happens with, like, we can sit here all day. We can sit here, we are living off of corn, and we don't even have corn ain't growing anymore. So we gotta find another fucking planet to fucking, spoiler, by the way, sorry, but that's what happened in there. They fucking blaming the whole goddamn world. Oh, we don't have no food. Oh my god. Well, are we gonna sit here and start blaming each other for fucking not finding food, or are we gonna find a new planet to live? Because we gotta move. We gotta do something. And judging each other and blaming each other and throwing each other under the bus and not seeing that the beauty and the love that actually exists in everyone, that doesn't fix shit. It doesn't fix anything. You guys are beautiful. The fact that you even showed up today shows that you are beautiful. You're representing for yourself. And I'm not saying this to preach. I'm not saying this to get you guys to convince. You guys can judge tomorrow if you want to. But just think about it in the back of your mind. And I just want to put this in your head. Every time you judge from here on out, I would love for you all to ask, why does it even matter, and how does this affect you being happy for you? And if you come up with a good reason, whatever. But think about it. What does it matter? Even judging yourself, like, especially yourself. When you start kicking yourself for not having enough money, when you start kicking yourself when your kids start cussing you out, does it matter to judge yourself? Because you know through that process you were doing the best that you could. Even if you think you could have done better, know that you didn't do better because that was the best you could do. That's what defines you did the best you could. Because you always have and you always will. It's a passionate little end piece. Took a little longer than I expected it. But I do hope that you all have a great rest of your week. This full moon in Leo is asking all of us to remember that we are love and we are powerful and we are full. We need to release the expectations and the ideas of what that fucking love looks like. Because the sun is showing us exactly what the fuck it looks like. And it ain't fucking judging people. It ain't fucking Kim Kardashian. And it's not fucking J-Lo. It's us being ourselves every fucking step of the way because we are good enough. Insults. Feminists that hate men. Everyone, racists, fascists, all of you guys. It doesn't fucking matter what the next person is because their belief system, the way they view the world, doesn't matter. Who they are and the day in and day out is all that matters. Because your best friend could be the person that you were against this entire fucking time. And it's all because of an idea. We're more than ideas, man. We're deeper than that. We're so much deeper than that. Do not limit yourself by just limiting your scope of view. There's more to people than just the way they look and think. There's way more. There's way more because there's more in you, and you only limit yourself based off of what you view. You're more than what you view. It's time to see that. Allow yourself to love yourself beyond what you view, what you think, what you assume, what you expect. Because you are not any of those things. You are beyond those things. You created those things. So where is the source? You are the source. That is it. I love you guys. And I say this because I love myself. And it's the hardest thing to do when all I want to do is yell at myself. But that's the point. You love without condition. Thank you guys. Please remember that this is also a live stream. Now, we will be taking live callers soon. It's going to probably be a little delayed. Please submit your questions. Submit anything that you want to talk about. Topics that you're interested in talking about. Give them to me. We'll talk about them. But you have to speak, and don't judge yourself for whatever topic it is that you want to talk about. Because it's totally fine. If I don't want to talk about it, it's not a saying that it's something wrong with you. But just know, if you do submit questions and everything like that, thank you for being brave to be yourself and not fear judgment of yourself. I also changed my website up a little bit, a little proud of that. Go ahead, check it out. The readings, though, you're going to have to email me. The reading stuff, when I did the personal reading stuff, I kind of did all this, the synopsis and give you an idea of what you're going to get out of there, but you're going to need to email me as to which one you want to do, and then we can start from there. Because I haven't set up the PayPal shit in there yet. But when I do, it will be grand. But until next time, family, I will see you on the other side. Love yourselves. Don't be mean to yourselves. Don't judge yourself now. Bye, guys.